Hey everybody. Hey, I turned the button off this time. So, hey, welcome back to another edition of Carl's Opinion. Sorry for the technical difficulties earlier. Probably just more evidence of YouTube shadow banning us. Hey, Mr. Great Douchebag, lay low, none of your business. See you in there. Thanks for coming back, guys. Totally appreciate it. Just had to fix a couple of things here. it's like, it's like Jesus. It's like one thing after another. But it's funny because after when you do this for, hey Lynn, good seeing you in here. It's funny when you do this now. I have so much more respect for the content creators on YouTube. You watch them do a video, you say, "Oh, that's easy. Anybody could do that." And then you actually get into a production software system like I have on vMix, and you realize just how complicated it is. In fact, I'll kind of show you just how complicated it potentially looks here. Let me see if I can show you this. Let me just show. I'll show you a desktop capture, and that should get you taking a look at it. Let's see. Let's see here. I think this would get you to kind of show you what I'm looking at here. Let's see. Let's see. Nope, that's not it. Okay, let's close out of that. Let's see here. Kind of just give you an idea of what these things look like here. There we go. All right, this is, I'm going to cut away real quick. I'm going to cut to what the screen I'm looking at looks like so you guys can see exactly what that's going on here. Yeah, this is like this is the production software. This is like the control room, the vMix control room. This is like CNN control room. And you see all the different screens that are up here and everything. This is the main screen here, top left, and then all these little different windows here, these different little screens. These are all like input screens. You have your audio, you have your sign titles, you have your, the main camera coming in. You can have multiple cameras. Yeah, you have, like, this is a Washington Times article I have going on here. Then you can scroll up, and you see different audio inputs and double box setups, and that's for like a vMix live video call in. And so that's kind of what's you got kind of going on here. So when you see somebody who puts together like a really good production like Anthony Brian Logan or Mark Dice, this is kind of what they're doing. Mark doesn't really do any live streams, but Anthony does a lot of live, obviously, when he brings in different videos and stuff. This is the kind of thing he's doing here, even just like his little tickers and sign and stuff like that. But I figured you guys get a kick out of kind of seeing the kind of behind the scenes production, what actually goes into one of these things. So I have a lot more respect now for these guys that I see on YouTube and these content creators. When they mess up, you're like, oh, you're messing up. Oh, what an idiot. It's like, no, I don't say that anymore. I don't even think that anymore because I realize how much effort it takes just to get this thing all kind of worked out. So let me close out of this thing here. Boom. So yeah, so it's fun, it's challenging. It's actually for me it's kind of relaxing. Yeah, exactly. The Matrix. Actually, like you're in the Matrix. I was just in the Matrix. I just got red pills. I just took my red pill. I am now back. As you can tell, I am now out of the Matrix. Um, oh yeah, definitely. ABL, Mark Dice, definitely great YouTubers, without a doubt. Nick. I watch Mark every morning. It comes on at 5 a.m. my time. I'm usually up a little bit after 5, or I'm up at 5, but by the time I get down, make the coffee and everything, it's a little bit after. So I'm not I'm not one of his first viewers on. He usually got about 10,000 viewers. Wants to call the naughty way. Oh, she wants to call. Okay, got the email. Now what? How do I call the fun way? Okay, Nanya, let me go ahead and get that set up. I'm going to shoot you a link, and then when you get that link, here, hold on. And I'm going to flip the screen here real quick, so we can be set up ready to go on that. Boom. And okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to shoot you the email link. Okay, so hold on. All right, now I'm going to shoot you the email, and when you get it, just hit on the link, enter your username, and then hit join call, and you're good to go. So, yeah, you should be no problems there. Make sure we got all the audio right back here. All right, I'm sending you the link right now. It's coming your way. There you go. So just click on the link and you'll be good to go. All right. So as soon as you get that, you'll be coming on the screen. And let's see. It'll take a couple of seconds probably for you to come on. Plus we have a little delay here. But yeah, all you got to do is hit just type in your username on the link, and then just hit join call, and you should be coming right on in. Just takes a couple of seconds. You'll see it appear up on there, and then you'll see it come on down. Hopefully that is the idea. So hopefully that is the idea. So hopefully that is actually what happens. So we're all hoping, and I mean I've tested it out several times myself. I've called in from like my cell phone, on the video call, and it's worked. So this should work also here. Let's see if you're saying anything to me like, "Hey, I can't get through. It may take a minute to get it. Email has been slow." Okay, all right, Carl, you the man? Yes, I am the man. So that would be me. So hopefully, hopefully this works. It's worked on paper. It looked good on paper, Coffee, you need some of that. Nah, well, I drink coffee a lot. My YouTube, yeah, you can put in your YouTube username. You don't have to use your real name. You can put your any name. You can put, X. You can put Johnny. You can put anything you want in that little box. It doesn't have to be your real name or anything. It doesn't have to be your username if you don't want to. It just allows me to know who's on it. So, let's see. But while you're doing that, I'm gonna light a cigarette because. It was funny, I was on the other day, and I was kind of coughing a little bit, and I go, oh, I haven't smoked enough cigarettes today. That obviously must be the problem. So as long as I have enough cigarettes, I'm doing okay. So. Ah, there you are. Can you hear me?
Yeah, let me
Hold on. Let's see what's going on with you. So let's hold on here. Should be coming in. Yeah, you're coming through. So it's just, where the hell are you? Let's see. Oh, no? Let's see.
I see you.
Nan, you there?
I'm here.
I can't hear you. God damn it. Hold on. Urgh. Well, you're coming. Say something one more time.
Something.
Yep, you're coming through. I just can't. I can't hear you for some reason. So that's driving me nuts. Okay, hold on.
Well, that
Oh,
doesn't help because I
oh,
need to talk
oh.
to
Hold
you.
on, hold on. I got you. Okay, I just had to hit a button.
All
Okay,
right,
go.
we're good now.
Yep, totally good. All right. So how you doing? So how you doing, Miss Nanya?
Good.
Is there anything you want to talk about tonight?
First, I want to know what is the dog in your picture?
Okay, that's Cartman. That was my German Shepherd. He died the day before the November 2016 election. He passed away that weekend. I had to take him down to Las Vegas. So I put his picture up, and the reason why I do that is so that the whole world now gets to see him every time I'm on YouTube or even sometimes when I'm on the internet. So that's why I have his picture up there to honor him. That's Cartman, my German Shepherd dog, is my son, and I have his ashes exactly right across from me, right where I'm sitting right now. So yeah, that was my boy. So that's how I honor him. So wherever I go and wherever my videos go, and whoever watches them gets to see him, and he gets to be seen all around the world.
Yay. Okay. So earlier in your previous show of Doom, you guys were talking. You guys were talking about the abortion thing, and then it kind of got sidetracked a little bit. And I just wanted to add my 2 cents to that. That I don't think that there's really any instance that I could even imagine where you get that far into a pregnancy and suddenly, oh, your life is in danger. Like that's what C-sections are for.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you on that. I mean, it's like I mean, I could see where potentially there would be some kind of a danger, and yeah, it seems like if you're gonna do an abortion, you could just easily do a C-section. I mean, I agree with you on that. So yeah, I
Yeah.
mean that has always been a little confusing for me because now that you say it, it even sounds worse because it makes way more sense coming out of somebody else's mouth.
Yeah. And the thing with that is I think that there's a lot of girls, they want to be pregnant, have the experience of how you're treated when you're pregnant. You know, everybody does stuff for you and they want to rub your feet. No, are you hungry? No, are you feel, you know, you get a lot of attention when you're pregnant. And
Yeah,
it almost seems like this is like it's going to be a weird excuse for girls to get pregnant, torture some man potentially over it, you know, oh, I got your baby, you got to stay with me or something like that. And then at the last second decide, whoops, wait, nope, I didn't really want the responsibility of having a child. It's just there's a lot of sick and twisted I think that can come out of this besides the fact that it's really gross in the first place. And this is going to be an unpopular opinion with some of the crowd.
no, go ahead.
I don't have a problem if you are up to 18 weeks and you decide, actually, I really can't do this, or some, you know, things have changed, you know, you lost your job, your husband's dead, other things, you know, there could be some reasons where I could associate, and I would, yeah, I get it. Up to 18 weeks. I think after 18 weeks, then we're really starting to push the bounds of decency, in my opinion. Um,
Yeah,
even though I know, oh, go ahead.
yeah. I've always like. I remember I was watching like it was like Discovery, a Science Channel, something like that, and they were trying to figure out, when. And it's actually a really good show. It wasn't political. It wasn't like left or right. It was just about science, and they were trying to figure out when life began. And it seems like in my opinion, I always got the opinion like when the child first begins to feel pain, that's like the cutoff date. After that, sorry, the child feels pain, can actually experience like being sliced and diced is what they do during an abortion. They send a little scalpel up there, and they slice you up, and then they vacuum you out. So in my opinion, when the child first starts feeling pain, which is like 6 7 weeks, maybe 8 at the tops, that's it. I mean, sorry, you're not going to put somebody through a whole bunch of pain just because it's inconvenient. I mean, tough shit. There's birth control. If you don't want to use birth control, sorry. That's just the way it goes. That's just how I feel about it.
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't looked into what when the nervous system starts to get really going and stuff. But I think I'd have to relook into it. But I think I did see something where I was like, yeah, I think like 18 weeks would be like a max for me.
Oh, it's funny. There's people in the chat saying, "Oh, Laylo, I feel like smoking now because the both of us are smoking." So that's kind of cool.
Yeah. Yeah, I swear it looked like you were chain smoking. Maybe it's because the thing was skipping around and the circle of death was coming in and affecting things. But every time I looked, I thought you weren't smoking, and then suddenly you were smoking again,
Yeah,
if that makes sense.
you know, it's well, that's due to buffering earlier. I'm not sure what was going on with that. In fact, even my connection tonight for some reason, and it's a high speed router through electric company we have here. It's high speed internet. It's supposed to be 25 megabytes on the way up and the way down, but every once in a while, it's weird. It's like it'll go great for like a week, and then all of a sudden, like the one night, it'll just start hitting bad for some reason. So I'm not. There must be a glitch with like the electric company in my town because it just like once every 2 weeks something. And this was the night. This is like the once every 2 weeks night, unfortunately.
Yeah, well, it's all good. We
But
can't blame you lightly.
no, go ahead.
I was just saying we only blame you a little bit, Carl.
Yeah, like I was saying, like before, like when I used to watch guys on YouTube, and I'd see them, things not working complete or something wouldn't work right. I'd be like, oh God, what an idiot! This guy doesn't know what he's doing. And then I started, doing it kind of as a hobby, and I say, my God, this shit's really complicated. This isn't just like plug it in and just dial up a phone call and just start talking. Well, some people do that. That's pretty crappy stuff. But yeah, it's a lot more than that, And so when you get into it, you have a lot more respect for the guys who do a really good job doing it, actually.
Yeah, I kind of want to start trying to do something a little bit, but then my husband was like, "Yeah, you go learn how to do it." I was like, "Ah, you can't just find out and tell me how." I don't want to learn anything. I'm not here to learn tech. I could
Well,
see
you know, it's funny.
envy.
Like they'll have like this is vMix video production, and like if you have a Mac that's like Ecamm, that's what Axe uses Ecamm for Mac, and you know they have tutorials and they have a manual and they have online stuff. But every once in a while, you'll follow their instructions to the letter, and it won't work. So then, like you'll Google a search like, how do I get Skype to work on my vMix? And there'll be like a chat room, and then some guy will say, "Oh no, don't listen to what they said to do. This, here's some guy that doesn't even belong to vMix Video Production, and he does like this back doorway, and then you do it, and it works perfect." So it's like it is a lot of work. It takes a lot of hours. I mean, I'll spend like 6 hours on this just trying to get everything lined up right. So yeah, it's a lot of work, unfortunately, but it's fun. It's challenging. So there you go.
Well, I commend you for doing it. I like it. I'm into it. I'm your stalker now, so I'll be around to
Yay!
stalk. Lilo can't have all the fun.
No, Lalo has a lot of fun, and then what's his name? Droman Productions was on earlier. He was very, very passionate, but then again, he lost a brother in 9/11. I mean, I can understand. I'd be pretty pissed off too. It's one thing your brother dies, of natural causes. It's just that's life. But your brother's like, walking around one minute, and the next minute a plane's flying into his fucking building. It's like, hey, what the shit? He was alive one second, and this plane flies into his building and kills him. And it wasn't like an accident, like the plane broke. It was like these guys flew into it on purpose. So I could see where he'd be really pissed off and very passionate. I mean, I can totally understand that.
I dig the angry people. Angry people make me happy. I'm always telling them. I love them. I love the rage.
Yeah, well, I mean, and he has good reason to be. I mean, I can imagine, what that day must have been like for him, and it was probably hard getting a lot of information out also. And if he wasn't living in New York and he had to go see his brother, then remember all the airlines were down, so he couldn't get on a flight. He'd have to like get a car, and I don't know how far away he was from New York or not, but I mean, and a lot of those bodies were never identified. They were just burnt up, blown to pieces, whatever, crushed. There were no bodies to identify. They just had to figure out that the guy's missing. He never came back, and they last time they saw him, he was on the 90th floor or something. So I can imagine how hard it was because there probably wasn't a lot of closure to it either, and probably more questions than answers also.
Yeah. Yeah, I never lost anybody like that, so I don't want to say that I can relate because I can't, but I can certainly understand why you'd be so angry.
Yeah, no, I totally get that. So, but hey, so yeah, what do you think about that whole Venezuela thing going on? What's happening down there right now?
Well, it's just history repeating itself, really. I mean, they've done this kind of socialist BS in different countries, and it crumbles and falls. It never works out. You're better off under a monarchy than you are under socialism, and that's saying something.
Yeah, no, actually, no, it is, and in a way, I agree with you. It's like the at least the king or the queen has kind of like some skin in the game, whereas the socialists they really don't even see themselves as living there. They see themselves as part of an ideology. So they figure if everybody goes to shit, including them, well, as long as the ideology lives on, it's okay. Whereas the king and the queen at least want the country to thrive a little bit, so they can still, they personally can have some more stuff versus socialism, which is some kind of. I mean, there's so many. You see, and I was talking. That's what I was talking to Joe Productions about. It's like so many. All these kids that didn't get to see, the end of the Cold War and how happy these people were to be free of communism and socialism in Eastern Europe, and so they don't even know what that's like to be free of something. There was how much pain they went through.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, anybody, I think also, if you've ever been long term in another country where they do have those kinds of policies, like communism, uh, I think is a lot like socialism. Um, I think that's when you'll appreciate and realize the incredible differences. Because when everybody born and raised here, even the poor people born and raised here, are silver spoon in the mouth compared to so many other countries. They have no idea, and they can't see outside themselves and past their own wants and needs because we are a wealthy nation. We're comfortable. We're safe compared to a lot of other places, and it makes some of us spoiled. So
Yeah,
it's almost like
yeah.
something usually has to happen to somebody to open their eyes to a certain situation. You can't tell a teenager nothing. They know it all. You don't understand. You don't know anything until they go through some of the same things that you might try to like protect them and save them from. So you got to let people kind of fall and hurt themselves. But the problem is we've got too many people who haven't had a chance to fall and hurt themselves before they got into a position where they could start hurting the rest of us with their ignorance.
Well, yeah, you look at Ocasio-Cortez, she's 29, and the sad thing about her is that she went to Boston College and got a 4-year degree in economics of all things, and in international relations, and it's like I don't know what they're doing in these colleges nowadays. I was talking to somebody in this divorce case I'm doing, and they're talking about high school. And I said, well, do you sit down with the kid and help him do his homework? And he goes, oh, they don't give him homework anymore in high school. I go, what do you mean they don't give him homework? How they read all the assignments in class. They don't give him an assignment to take home to read and then come back the next day and discuss. And I go, are you sure? Are you sure your kid's not just telling you? He goes, no, I've been to the parent-teacher meetings. And I said, hey, my kid doesn't get any homework. He goes, oh, we don't give him homework anymore. We just read all the assignments in class and talk about it, at the same time. Well, I mean, how long does it take to? I mean, you can never get through an entire textbook for the year if you're doing that. I mean, so I assume the colleges are just as bad because she obviously didn't learn anything at a 4-year university herself. I mean, it's
Yeah.
crazy.
I think that a lot of the colleges are just passing people now without any merit. They're just cranking them out and getting them through. Because have you spoken with any college students recently?
Um, just young lawyer, just young lawyers I talk to, like in the DA's office, guys coming up. But I mean, that's different because lawyers generally, law school. You can't do much about dumbing down law school, although they've done it in some places. But I mean, if you want to pass that bar exam, you better learn something because that bar exam is brutal. So that's what happened in California. They dumbed down the bar exam, and they still had the lowest pass rate in the history of the state of California. It was like 29%. So I don't know. I guess they're dumbing down law schools in California as well. I don't know, but yeah, I haven't talked to any like young undergrads or anything like that in a long time.
Oh, I don't know what the kids running around here are in school for, and I don't bother to ask because most of them aren't worth talking to. But all they can do is parrot what their latest teacher has said. If you talk to one, a couple weeks later, talk to another, they all have the same opinion. It's the same thought. I think that I don't know this because I'm not as learned as some of y'all. I'm a high school dropout, so I don't know a whole lot, but I'm not completely retarded. And a lot of these kids, Lilo
Well,
says
no,
he
I mean,
loves.
you sound like you know what you're talking about whenever I talk to you about the issues or when you make a comment. So, I mean, when you sit there and say I'm a high school dropout, it sounds like you kind of like self-learned. I mean, that's what it sounds like to me.
Yeah. Well, I have a curiosity and a desire to know everything, which is part of the problem with being on YouTube. It's because I want to get into everybody's business and know what's going on and
Oh,
everything.
hence none your business?
No, actually, that started when the Occupy Wall Street stuff started. Um,
Okay.
and so I changed my YouTube name, because at first when the Occupy Wall Street stuff started coming out, I was all down with it. I was like, yeah, screw the 1% and everything. I was kind of silly, when it first started coming out. But they started off, it sounded like they were really like less government, more just people accountability, no more corporations taking advantages of tax breaks and all the other kind of stuff. And like everything was going to shit because Obama wasn't doing a really super good job. But it really quickly turned into like I think the first of the SJW super left libs. That's almost like the birthplace of a lot of them. And it took them a few years to really come into their own and indoctrinate a whole bunch more of the youth. But that's where I feel like that all got started was because of the Occupy Wall Street.
Yeah, no, I would agree with that. And Tim Pool, I don't know if you ever watched Timcast. It's he's like an ex-leftist, ex-liberal. He's still a liberal actually, but he even he himself says he ends up siding more with the conservatives, or is able to have a conversation at least with conservatives. And he got a red pill moment because he was on the left, And Cenk Uygur from the Young Turks kind of jumped on his ass one day, and he's like, "Hey, what the hell, man?" You know, and a whole bunch of people from the left jumped on him with the Young Turks, and that was kind of his red pill moment. And since then, he's kind of been really just pointing out the crap the left has been doing, and because he was part of that Occupy Wall Street thing too. He was down there, you know, at the time as well, and he's so a lot of people, you know, unfortunately stayed, but a lot of people, you know, left. It sounds like, you know, like yourself and like him.
Yeah, well, I don't think I was ever really on the left, but I wasn't as political then as I've become now. You know, the older you get, the more you start looking at politics anyway. So that's probably part of that too. Because what was that, 10, 11 years ago?
Yeah, Occupy Wall Street. That was that wasn't during Bush. That was during Obama, wasn't it?
Yeah. Hmm.
Yeah, so that would have it had to be no more than 10 years ago. I mean, I think it was even less than that. It was probably like 2010, 2000. It was after the Tea Party. I remember that. It was definitely after the Tea Party.
Yeah. So that's I think that like some people woke up out of that and realized that it was being indoctrinated by extreme policies that were bad for the country. And but a lot of people fell into it. You know, mostly the kind of creeps that you see sitting on the street corner that are homeless because they want to be. Like here in Colorado Springs, right now it's winter and cold, so they've all crawled back under their rocks. But we get a lot of
Well,
people.
actually, where do they crawl back under when in the wintertime? Do they have shelters set up, or do they head south like, you know, like migrating birds, or what do they do?
I think I think a lot of them actually head south. We do have shelters, but a lot of them won't go into the shelters because the shelter says you can't bring in anything that would be considered a weapon, like sharp objects, or some of them have their walking sticks and things, like the big ones, like you could fight with it like a staff. Some of them have animals that they drag around with them, and you can't bring animals into the shelter. They have rules to come into the shelter. And it wasn't but a couple months back before the weather started getting really bad, we have had a huge problem with the quote unquote homeless. And I don't like to call them homeless as much as indigent, because in my opinion that's a better word for them, because they're homeless because they want to be homeless. Um,
Yeah.
they when the weather started to get a little cooler, they were starting little campfires. They burnt down half of an apartment here in the Springs. They burnt several
Jesus.
fields. Um, they move in a group. There's about 100 of them that move in this big horrible hippie group from spot to spot, and they get chased out of one spot and then they go to somewhere else. And oh, a bridge, they set a bridge on fire. So and our
Wait.
news,
Okay, how do they set a bridge on fire? That I got to know.
well, they hang out underneath the bridges.
Yeah.
And so they must have made a big bonfire, and they're just like, oh no, it got out of control, run away, because yeah, they set one of our bridges on fire. Just a
Oh,
little like an overpass kind of style bridge, not like across the water.
okay. Yeah.
Uh, yeah, like wait, how do you get the water to burn? But
Right.
our local news station went down there and did an interview with a bunch of the people, just like hey, because they're in this one spot right off the highway, in really good hidden spot though, and they were getting ready to get shoveled out of there. So the news went down and they're like, well, how do you guys feel about what's going on? And a bunch of them were like, I live this way because I choose this life and I don't have to pay taxes and I can do what I want and I whittle my sticks and do my business. And if you wanted to look up Colorado Springs news and go back a little ways, you could probably find the interviews. And it's just like, it's disgusting. And when they
Well,
finally got them all
I just don't
out,
I don't see how, you know, they sit there saying, well, we don't pay taxes, we don't do this, and but I mean, I assume they got their hand out. I assume they're getting some kind of government assistance or something.
in our downtown area is not super huge. It's only maybe 5 or 6 blocks long. The main strip where all like the clubs, the bars, the fun restaurants, the neat places to go shopping. And they line the corners, especially on this one section where there's like a 7-Eleven, but there's no gas station involved. They bust the windows out of places. We had a lady who tried to give a guy food and he stabbed her in the face with a fork because he was crazy.
Wow.
Um, when they ask for money, and you just, if you say no or you something, then they're always kind of jerks, like, well, God bless you. That's like bum speak for get bent.
Wow.
And I've been harassed when I went out with, I took my daughter who's 20 and my niece out for ice cream at this ice cream place that everybody likes down here. And it was later in the evening. The sun was going down. It was starting to get dark, but it wasn't anything hideous. And some guy followed us down the street, giving us heck. He got in my face because I had the girls. I brought him in close to me because I could tell what he was doing. I'm not stupid.
Hmm.
And I told him, don't talk to him. Let's just keep walking, walk faster. And he was like, hey, mama, what are you going to do, mama? And I was like, horrified, because I'm not a super huge person. I mean, like, I'll try my best, but I'm a girl,
Well, I mean, did you
with
have a
two
gun
young
or any mace or anything like that? You're in Colorado.
You know what? I didn't have any mace on me at the time, and even though I don't like to open carry, because as a woman open carrying, you kind of get attention that you don't want.
Well, yeah. Plus,
So
you could be overpowered, and you got a choice. You're gonna have to shoot somebody, or or something. You're not gonna be able to fight anybody off. They're gonna be able to get the gun away from you if they're a big guy.
yeah, and because I'm just lazy, let's just call a spade a spade. I haven't gone and gotten my permit yet. I have my certification. I just don't have my actual permit to conceal carry.
Okay.
But I was looking around. I mean, the streets, there were people on the streets. We weren't like on our own.
Right.
There's no like dark alleys or anything we were down. And I was looking at big young bucks coming in our direction, and on the other side, like eyes. Hey, look, there's this creep. He's harassing three small female people. Come and help
Yeah.
me. And with the way people are anymore, because I am not a feminist. I am a lady. Treat me like a lady, or I will gut you. So, so
I
I mean,
like that last part. Or I will gut you. I'm gonna gut you. It's like that's pretty
but it
tough.
was definitely kind of scary, and I think he was probably one of the homeless or the new transplants, because weed is legal here and recreational weed is legal. In the last 2 years, we've gotten a tremendous influx of people that have moved into the state, and our three biggest cities are Denver, Colorado Springs, and then Pueblo, and we're all right down a straight path down the highway corridor all along the mountain range.
Uh huh.
And so Denver's gotten absolutely insane. It's just unlivable. And the Springs is starting to get to that point too. I mean, our rent prices here are astronomical. If you own your house, you're lucky as heck, because like right now we are swimming in it as far as that goes. But we got a lot of people. They're just you go to another state and they're so different from you. You almost feel like you're in another country.
Yeah.
So we got that going. It feels like there's, like, I go downtown and I think that I'm in Washington or Oregon.
Oh wow.
People wearing llama vests, the sewn, whatever they are, like, I don't know what to call them, hippies. I'll call them hippies. We got a lot of hippies now. I'm not down with the hippies.
Well,
So,
it's like hippies. It's like Jesus Christ. That was like 1970s. Like that's over 40 years ago, and like now they're on the comeback, and they're just just all smoking weed, hanging out. Hey, 420, 420. I mean, is that what it's like? It sounds like Northern Cal?
yeah, I don't think we're as bad as California yet, but we definitely, we have a Democrat for governor.
Yeah.
Um, And I don't care that he's gay, but he made such a big deal out of being gay to get elected.
Oh God.
And yeah, he was whatever's, and they're already starting to do stuff. They're getting ready to try to pass, and I'm sure it will, because we've got so many of those Democrat implants that came this way, trying to get away from the mess they made.
Yeah.
Um, they're going to teach the kids, the young kids in school, about tolerance and acceptance of different sexual, social classes, whatever that's supposed to be. We're probably going to have the drag queens coming into the schools and
Oh
stuff. Who
wait. Oh
knows? I
wait. Hold on a second. I just want to say good night, Mr. Great Douchebag. Douchebag. Good night, Great Douchebag.
Bye, Skippy Boo.
No, in fact, I did a whole video on Californians stay in California. It's on my video list. You can see it. But yeah, I it was like because yeah, they came to Nevada too, and they turned. We were a red state up until 2015. In 2016, we had a Republican governor, Republican state senate, Republican assembly, and after 2016, and then we went 2018. I'm sorry, 2018 we went Democratic governor, Democratic assembly, Democratic state senate.
That's smart people speech. I don't know who, what, when, where, and why. Like I said, I didn't really start getting political and really caring up until just recently. Um, it was Trump is actually what got me even interested in politics, because I always assumed that it didn't matter, that they were going to put in who they wanted to put in, and it didn't matter, and it was just a waste of time, and like the government's way to track you kind of stuff, kind of like, ooh, creepy conspiracy people.
Right.
So when Trump actually got elected, and my husband and I both, we looked at each other, we were like, wow, I think your vote really does count. Like, it really can make a difference. So my very first vote was actually on who was going to be our governor. I've never voted for a president. I will next time around, but
Yeah.
I didn't vote for anybody, never have, until it was time to vote. And unfortunately, though, our side lost because we got all these weirdos running around here now.
Yeah, well, yeah, like we said, we got a bunch of people from California who totally screwed up their state. They voted for all these social programs and higher taxes and no infrastructure. Like they have the highest gasoline tax in the country, California does, but instead of it going directly to like highway repair and road construction or even mass transit, it goes into the general fund. So then it gets lost in the general fund to pay for all these social programs and everything, and the highways are like ranked 47th in the country. I mean, and then they come to your state and they do the same damn thing over here, like in Nevada or in Colorado. It's a real
Yeah,
pain in the ass, actually.
exactly. That's something that a lot of us are asking now, because some of the stuff that we were voting on was uh, they. I don't know who it is in. What do you call the people that they're supposed to plan how the roads go and that kind of stuff?
Oh, like California Department of Transportation, something like that.
Okay, yeah. So like someone's in our Department of Transportation or whatever it is, and they've decided that we needed more bike lanes, and we can't widen the streets in many places. It's just that's not going to happen. So what they did was they narrowed our streets. So instead of having two cars that can go down the road in like the tight downtown areas, it's down to one lane, and the other side is a big bike lane. And here in Colorado, we're right up against the Colorado Springs anyway. We are right up against the mountain. It
Right.
doesn't really start getting flat until you go much further east of the city, which is far away from the downtown area. And otherwise, it's pretty hilly. Like, a lot of people aren't doing it. Those who do, they have tree trunks for legs. And anybody else, you rarely see anybody on a bike. And then our weather here during the summer, it gets really nice and hot. Like, it's probably as bad as you guys, maybe. I'm not sure. But
No,
and during
no, no.
no, okay. During the winter, obviously we have cold, snow, and ice. We do have all three seasons here. We're not like a desert or something like that, but
Right.
uh, it's only really in the spring and in the fall when riding a bicycle is convenient for most people, if they even want to ride a bicycle. Like I said,
Hmm.
it's a little bit hilly. You got to be in shape, and weather is depending on whatever. And you can leave the house here in the morning and it's 80 degrees, and by the afternoon it's 30 degrees, and we've almost got snow coming over the mountain. So it's really unpredictable. We just don't do it. You get a lot of hiking, but
Right.
people go prepared and they're carrying stuff. There's a few and far between using those bike lanes, but what they're doing is they're crunching our traffic down worse and worse and worse, because now it used to take me 20 minutes to get from my side of town to the east side of town through one of our main roads that goes through. Now it takes me 45 minutes because we've got so much more people, and the whole downtown area, which is where I have to drive through that to get to the east, is down to one lane instead of two for
Yeah,
the
let me
bike lane.
explain what that. Let me explain what that's about. And I did a video on that. The video I did on it's called "Road Diet in Paradise," and it talked about there's a YouTuber. He's a Californian, and he's a conservative. So you imagine how much fun he has. His name is I don't want to say it's Grindal61, Grindal 61, and he did a video right after the wildfires up in Paradise, and like all those people got killed up there. And what he found was that, like you probably heard terms like safe streets, road diet. What's the other word they were talking about? God, it's basically what they want to do. Okay, these are all environmentalists as part of the UN thing. They want to make it such a pain in the ass to drive your car that you won't drive your car to cut down on carbon emissions. So that you will take a bike, you will take mass transit. So what they do is, and they sell it to the business community by saying, okay, we're going to slow down traffic going through downtown so more people will stop. And so they put like turnouts, turnarounds. They put like diagonal parking into the lanes. They'll put a bike lane. They'll take a lane away. Well, in Paradise, California, they did that. And what happened was they took a 4-lane highway, it was 2 lanes each way, and they dropped it down to 2 lanes. And that was the main escape route out of that city when the fire hit. And they were supposed to have alternative evacuation routes, but being in California, they needed all these environmental impact studies, so they never built the other escape routes. So that's why so many people died in their cars in Paradise, California, when those big wildfires hit. And what they do is they go around it's like the Safe Street program of California. So we were talking about California's coming out to your state and changing things. They brought that with them. That's what they did. That's why you have that 1 lane and that bike lane and all that stuff. They say it's not so much for the environment. They say it's to make it healthier and safer so the children won't get run over by high-speed traffic. They tell this to the downtown guys to increase commerce, and everybody goes along with it. But the whole idea is just to cut down on people driving, because like that 45 minutes, maybe it'll take an hour to take a bus. So now you'll take the bus instead of driving, so you'll have a less of a carbon footprint. That's what that's all about. That's exactly what. Look at one of my. It's called Road Diet in Paradise. It's on my videos. I don't. It wasn't a live stream. It was just a video I uploaded 2 months ago, maybe a month ago, and you'll see exactly what's going on there.
All right, I definitely, because I'll show that to my husband too, because that's one of his big pet peeves with what's going on around here is the stuff that they're doing to the roads. And but that whole thing was started with oh my gosh, now my brain is melted. um, oh yeah, the weed thing. So they're asking for more money from our taxes and stuff. They're taking more taxes out of us now for the roads and all this other stuff. But there's no accountability for the taxes that are coming from the amount of weed. I think we get billions. They said it was like some billions amount of number revenue in taxes off of weed, but nobody knows where it's going. There's no accountability. If you ask and you say, hey, where's all the money for the weed going and stuff, like, oh, this, that, and the other. There's just, it's always, I think people are lining their pockets and getting fat, and the state's just getting their money for whatever and just leaving
Yeah.
everybody behind. But it's bringing in, the weed was supposed to bring our state riches, not make us all poorer. And that's what it's doing, because like competition in Colorado for jobs has gotten extremely fierce, which is another reason why having all the illegals coming in isn't helping anybody, because it is fierce around here for work.
Wow.
Oh yeah, you
Yeah,
didn't
because
know
I mean,
that?
just when they first passed that, they were supposed to see. I have a pretty good idea what happened. In other words, I believe the money was first supposed to go to just all public works projects and stuff like that, good paying jobs, and then they probably amended it where it went like into a general fund. That's what they did in California when they sold the lottery in California. They said, "Oh, this is money's going to go for education." So everybody thought it was supposed to be extra money for education to make education better. And what happened was, instead of that, the legislature said, "No, this is going to be the budget for education, whatever we taken from the lottery." So it wasn't like additional money for education. It was now supplementing that money, and the other money went for like Medicaid, paying for illegal aliens, some other social justice projects. And that's probably what's going on in your state, because that money
I
was
think
supposed to be designated in Colorado for public works projects, good high-paying union jobs, stuff like that, construction jobs for schools, bridges, infrastructure, that kind of stuff. But they probably found a way to, finagle it where the money just goes into a general fund and pays for their little social justice projects.
Yeah, I think you're probably definitely right because also part of what we were voting on this last go around for our state was, oh, the schools need more money. They don't have enough money. Our education system is starting to slip. Some of our schools, I think the lower class schools did get shut down. So they were like, yeah, so that's just, yeah. What I'm saying is you're right. I think you're right.
Oh, okay. Well, I will let you say that. I will let you say that I'm right. Yay.
Okay. Well, I'm going to go ahead and get off so I don't, it's not the Carl and Nunya show
Okay.
and let
Nah,
somebody else.
great phone call. Great video call. You're my first live video VMix caller, by the way.
Oh, yay! Yeah, no, I don't know if any of y'all noticed, because there's some different things people catch me on some other channels and stuff too. If it's a live call-in, I love it, mostly because there's less of a delay, and
Right,
I see you better. I talk to you, I hear you, your mouth moves, I hear the words coming out, so I like that better
right.
and stuff. And I'm a ham too. I want to know what everybody looks like. I want everybody to know what I look like. Hi, everybody. So.
Well, you look great, and totally thanks for being my first guinea pig, if you will, my first person to come on in, and I'm glad I got the sound on for you. So, hey, anytime you want to call in, fantastic, and thanks for the comments you leave in the chat, by the way, too. Really appreciate it.
Oh, yeah. Hey, I'm your biggest stalker now.
All right, thanks, Nanya.
Okay. Yeah,
Bye bye.
bye-bye.
Let's see. All right, cut this off. Boom. All right, that was Nanya Business, and that was fantastic. That was my first live vMix video caller, and so that was like really cool. And I just want to thank her again for calling in and being my first video caller. So thank you so much. And so yeah, Laylo, totally appreciate it. It looks like, and oh, Charity, hey, thanks for being here tonight. Totally appreciate it. And it sounds very. I'm on the search for the identity now. Haha. Let's see. Charity, who are you looking for? It was only me, the douchebag. Charity. Oh, douchebag. Yeah, no. Yeah, he was here earlier, and he had to go. He had to go to bed, unfortunately. But yeah, he's the great douchebag. He's a fantastic guy. He called in the other night. We had a really good conversation. It was really good. But there is the live call-in number there, and 775-273-8970. Again, that's 775-273-8970. So if you want to call on in, feel free. And it's a free call. Free. That's right. A free phone call to Carl's Opinion. And when you call in the Carl's Opinion, you will get Carl's opinion. And I definitely want to hear your opinion because that's we're conservatives. We like hearing other people's opinions, even if we don't agree. Unlike liberals who get triggered by that kind of stuff and they just want to stay in their own little bubble. We don't. We like a good debate. It's like with a Crowder. He always like he always does those things. He'll go to college campuses or somewhere and he'll say, "Okay, show me why I'm wrong." And he really listens though. He goes, "No, show me why I'm wrong." I think the most recent one he did was like about building the wall. And he goes, "Okay, show me why I'm wrong. Why I think this is a good idea." We want to hear the other side. The best thing about debate and free speech is that you take your position, and if you want to make sure you win a debate, you want to really research it and know it really well and learn it really well and know all the good points and the bad points. You want to know the bad points. You don't want to be able to anticipate the argument. And just that process itself in preparing to debate somebody, you learn a lot about the position you have. And maybe you're saying, after you do all the research, you say, maybe that's not so good. And then especially if you debate somebody and they bring up, the positions that, are against you, then you say, well, gee, maybe I need to rethink my I need to rethink my position. Maybe I'm not so solid. The thing about liberals, though, if you bring a counter position to them, and they get quote unquote triggered. I'm sorry, I'm like an '80s guy. If somebody had been throwing that word around the '80s, we would have been laughing our asses off at them. Like, what are you talking about? When I was on university campus in the '80s, it was vigorous debate. The abortion debate was going full swing. The debate on Russia was going full swing. Better red than dead. That was going on full bore. Ronald Reagan was in office, so the whole, quote unquote strategic defense initiative, also known as Star Wars, that debate was going on. Gorbachev, the Berlin Wall. I mean, there were a lot of hot issues, but they were debated. We had real debates. I mean, you could actually. I was on University of California Riverside campus, and a professor who was pro-abortion, he wanted to hold a debate, and it was after class, and he had one of the the smaller, not super small classroom, but there's probably like 100 people there that came by, and there was probably like 70% in favor of abortion and 30% against, and I was part of the 30% against. And not once during the debate did he have to say, no, 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 let him talk. No, no, don't interrupt him. No, don't be rude. Don't be mean to him. Don't boo him. Don't hiss him. Don't call him names. He never had to say that once. And that's just the way it was back in the 80s. You could have the opposite position of somebody on a college campus that wasn't progressive, that wasn't liberal, that wasn't leftist, express your opinion, and people would engage you. I mean, so many different just debates, like just informal stuff where you're just like, you're hanging out like, um, at like a cafeteria or even a bar or a restaurant or like the library or wherever, just somewhere, and you just start debating, and you get a small group, people just start debating issues. Nobody's throwing anything at each other. Nobody was like yelling and screaming at each other at the top of their lungs. Nobody was saying, I'm triggered. Nobody was running off to the dean to complain about you. That's the way it was, and we were a lot better off for it. And it strengthened my positions, and maybe rethink a couple of my positions. Maybe go back and do some work, some homework to make sure I was on solid ground. And that's the whole point. And you want that to happen. But now, Ben Shapiro goes to a college campus. They're like trying to trying to tear down the doors to stop him. Jordan Peterson goes University of Toronto Law School. He was at a law school, and these law students were trying to stop him from speaking. Of all the places, I mean, they're banging. I mean, I know a lot of you guys saw the video. They're banging on the walls. They're banging on the windows. I mean, they're getting violent. They're yelling and screaming. They're disrupting the whole, enterprise. Back in the 80s, when I was at University of California Riverside and also University of Houston, that never happened. I mean, it was we would have laughed these people out. We would have just laughed them away. So let's see. That was before Obama messed it all up with his identity poop. Yeah, that didn't help any. That's for sure. Yeah, I mean, identity politics. I mean, that whole thing. On my phone, booting me on back. All right. So, yeah, if anyone wants to call in, there's a number, 775-273-8970. And it's a live call-in number. You'll be on live with Carl and Carl's opinion. So let's see what else we got going on in the news that I was going to discuss today. So let's take a look. What we were talking, we touched on the whole marijuana issue already. We also were talking about the abortion issue, the New York law, and a little bit about Venezuela. State of the Union, I heard on, I know Layla was over there, about the State of the Union that looked like Nancy Pelosi doesn't want to go forward on the 29th. She goes, oh, no, I said if the government reopens, we'll talk about a mutually agreeable date. Like as if the night of the 29th there's something else going on that they can't, have the president come over. I mean, he's literally right down the street. I mean, literally right down the street. And you know what? Everybody's everybody's gonna be out of town. I mean, is that what the story is? I mean, it's on a Tuesday. Everybody's there. I mean, they're working that day. All they gotta do is just walk down the hall. I mean, that's just this petty nonsense that they're doing over there. I mean, we're trying to they're acting like little children, and and like teenagers are watching this, going, yeah, that's how you're supposed to act. He's the president of the United States. Okay. He wants to live. Oh, we got a call coming in. It looks like Mr. Lalo's on the phone. Hold on. Lalo, you're on the air.
Hey, Carl.
Hey, how you doing,
go
man?
Ahead. I know you were looking for some news. Go ahead. I'm just here on the phone. Look for something, and then we'll talk about it. I'll stay on the phone.
I was talking about the State of the Union. So, did you want to chime in on that about Nancy Pelosi not allowing the president to come over on the 29th for the State of the Union?
Well. What can I say? I'm not surprised, and I know this is gonna keep happening. But yeah, sure, we can talk about it. I mean, I already know this woman is just gonna say no to everything. I don't care. Look, I've been listening to different people here in the YouTubers, and some, they got different opinions, and that's fine. But I still think she's gonna say no to everything he puts out there. It doesn't matter if it is good or real bad, whatever. She's gonna say no. I don't care if they say, oh yeah, she might say yes. No, I'm telling you, she's gonna say no. I hope I'm wrong. I hope I'm wrong, but I think she's gonna say. I think she's gonna say no. Meaning her and the other guy. What's his name? The crying baby, Schumer.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, those two. They're gonna keep saying no. So I hope I'm wrong. I hope so, but hey, we'll see. What about the Spanish girl, the big eyes, Ocasio?
Ocasio-Cortez. Yeah, with the AOC.
Yeah.
I always forget her first name, but they call her AOC now or something because she's so cool, I guess.
You're right. That's how they call it now, the AOC.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah,
you got all these adults in the room, all these guys in their 40s, 50s, 60s, and 70s, and they're all like fawning over this little 29-year-old kid who's like one of the most uneducated people in the world. I mean, somebody would just say on her side of the aisle, like, you're really not very bright. I mean, you can go around talking all this gibberish all you want, but you know what? You're really quite stupid. Somebody would just call her out on it. Just tell her she's a dummy. I mean, and then say to her, "Prove me wrong." Okay, let's have a civics test. Let's answer some questions about civics or history or about politics or about the world, economics. Let's find out just how much you don't know.
Hey, Carl, let me tell you, that I'm not really an educated person. I know my things, but I don't know too much. I can actually do better than her, and let me tell you.
Way better.
I know this girl. When I know this girl is making almost 202K or whatever they call it, and that's fine. I'm not jealous. I mean, hey, good for you. But when she's in a place that she is right now, that you gotta know what you're doing, and then I see what the things that she says, I'm saying, wow, America is really great. That's all I gotta say. America is really great, man. Because look at her, man.
Well, yeah, like any idiot can rise up and do something, and that is you do have a good point there. We say America is really great because of that. It is. In other words, if what she did on her campaign. Okay, look what she did on her campaign. Okay,
I give it. But by the way, Carl, before you continue, I really give her credit. That I gotta give it to her because she tried and she went for it. So I gotta give her. The other guy is the one who kept winning, and he's like, oh, I'm gonna win again, and he didn't try. So I gotta give her credit for that. Besides that, that's it. I don't give her no more credit. But go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, well, she's in the district. She decides I'm going to primary this guy who's serving the House for 10 terms. I think he was number 4 in the House of Representatives on the Democratic side. And she just walked those streets. I mean, like a streetwalker, I guess. I guess you can call her. But I mean, she just went and hustled for those votes. I mean, she had a little team of friends, and then she got some money from outside. Not too much outside money though, but she got some money. But she just pretty much went like door to door and got her friends to start knocking on doors. It was going to be a low turnout. Yep. It was going to be a low turnout primary because it's a Democratic seat, so a lot of Democrats don't come out for the primary because it really does. It's a Democratic seat no matter who wins the primaries, and nobody really cares. So, and she just targeted, what she knew would be her audience, basically a bunch of dumb, uneducated people, that would say, wow, you're just, they talk to her and she sounds just like them. So they're like, oh, I'll vote for her. She sounds just like me, other dummies. And then the Democrat, the guy, the incumbent, he was complacent. He really didn't campaign. He wasn't prepared for the debate against her. He should have known what her talking points were, but you could tell he was like hearing them for the first time. So, I mean, hey, she went out and she said, I want to be a congressperson from that district, and she went out and did it. So you got to give her credit on that at least.
No, Carl, I do. I mean, it's a shame. It's a shame that we have these people, in Congress with power, and they're dumbasses. I mean, they are. I'm serious. And just to go to the point, the same thing. When was it? It wasn't today. I think it was either yesterday or the day before. I was actually having lunch with my parents, and we were talking about stuff like this. And my mom is like, "How can these people, win? How can they get in power?" And I told my mom, the problem is that a lot of times. Tell me if I'm wrong. If I'm wrong, let me know, please.
You're wrong. You're wrong.
well, hey, probably I am.
No,
But
I'm
anyway,
only kidding. Go ahead. Go ahead.
nah, don't worry, Carl. I told my mom, look, what happens is a lot of times, and I'm going for my experience, a lot of people they work, they're busy, they're doing their things. These people, they make laws, they're doing their things. A lot of times people don't have no idea, and especially with the mainstream media that they always say BS, whatever. People don't have no idea. They think, okay, this person is good or whatever. They don't, and then they have their friends, their group that they're like always voting for them. So if the other people like us don't vote, of course they're always gonna win, and that's how they get empowered. Tell me if I'm wrong. I think that's
No,
how it works.
that's you're exactly right. In other words, look, like we're busy. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're working, we're trying to, keep our family intact. We're paying attention to real issues, and these people they kind of they see where they can make a move in politics or something, and they get their base out, they get real excited, and we're like, well, it's just whatever, and next thing you know, we lose. So the nice thing about 2016 is a lot of people, on our side came out to vote. We were like, they really decided. I don't know why they did this. I don't know whose strategy this was, but they decided to let's just go piss these people off. By calling us deplorables and calling us names, and
Yeah, yeah,
the
yeah, yeah.
mainstream media putting us down every chance they could get. Making fun of us, and all the elitists making fun of us, and MSNBC and CNN, and they thought that was going to like make us depressed and just want to stay home. And if anything, it fired us up, and because we're like, hey, f you. Who the hell are you to tell me like I'm a deplorable, I'm a loser, I'm a nincompoop? Hey, hate to tell you this, but we're paying the bills around here. So screw you. We're going out to vote, and you can tell us that our guy's going to lose all day long, and tell us that Hillary's got a 90% chance or a 95% chance of winning, and they're pretty much telling you might as well stay home, don't vote because you're going to lose anyway. We're like, screw you. We're going to go out and vote, and we did, and we won.
No, no,
Yay!
no. I know. No, no. You're right, and I'm happy. I just wish that more people would like go on board because I think the government would be a little better. Look, by the way, I hate the government. I think they're all fucking corrupt. All right, and I wish we could have just clean up, like take everybody out and put new people because I know they don't care. These people now they don't care. They just want power and money. You got people that have been there for 40 years. No, no, time to go. Time to fucking like Pelosi or whatever Pelosi. I can't even pronounce her name. Come on, it's time to retire. You got so much money. Go home, spend time with your kids, whatever. Relax.
Right,
Why you want to be in power?
right.
You can tell she don't care about America anymore. She only cares about being in power. And that's what I hate about these people. It's like, come on, man. You got money. You can have a really good life that a lot of people wish they had the life that you have. Just go. Just get out of here, And it pissed me off that, she's just making this America, worse for everybody else. That's
Well,
what I'm
well,
trying to
the
say.
thing is, I just can't believe how she thinks what she's doing is making America better. I mean, I just don't know how she can believe that.
Exactly.
I mean, it's just
Exactly.
amazing.
Yes. But that's what I'm saying. These people, honest, I think they don't really care about America anymore. Because come on, they know that the wall is gonna work. Not 100%. Everybody knows a wall
Sure.
doesn't work 100%, but it helps. A little thing here, a little how they call it layers. The more layers you got, the better it
Right.
is. All right.
Yeah, it's like
So
it's like home defense. You layer your home up in surveillance cameras or a lock on the door, if you will, a door, if you will.
exactly,
It's the same
exactly. So,
thing. You just layer it up and you make it just harder, and you kind of
but
make it not worthwhile to try to even get across the border.
but Carl, but this is the thing. And look, I was not even born here, okay? But to me, and you already know. I already
Okay,
told
hey,
you
okay, what's
before
your
you were born.
address? I'm going to
I
call ICE. Give me your address so I can call ICE. Woo, 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 woo.
oh, don't worry. No, I got my American passport. I got everything
No,
legal.
no,
Don't
no.
worry about it. You can use.
No, we're going to burn that. We're going to burn that and say you're like, illegal, and just we'll put you in Mexico, and then you can figure it out from there.
Hey, it's okay. I'll go to California.
There you go. You get all the free stuff you want. It's like, yeah, go ahead.
Hey,
I'm gonna go. In fact, you ought to just like go across, right? Go across to Mexico like as a tourist, and then come back in illegally into California. You get free housing, you get free food, free medical, dental,
hey, my
vision.
life.
You can
Hey,
just, hey, you can
my
live
life.
life large.
Listen, my life would probably be better. I'd be like, hey, free whiskey too. Give me free whiskey.
Oh
Hey,
yeah, well
come on.
if you tell them that you have this need, that you tell them that in your home country you drank a lot of whiskey and you want to feel like at home, and then you say like, and by the way,
Ex-
you Europeans are awful and you should allow me to drink whiskey. They'll give you whiskey and hell, get some cigarettes from me. Say, my friend smokes cigarettes, I got to get him some, so I need some free cigarettes also.
Hey, listen, I know we're joking around, but the sad part is a lot of things is like you saying. A lot of these people, they're getting all this free stuff,
Yeah,
and I'm sorry, it's not right. It's not right because I see. Look, I feel bad for a lot of people for that. That they really need it. I understand that, but the problem is like, you know what? A lot of people here need it too. Not me, not me. I'm okay. But I'm
yeah,
talking about a lot of people need it too, and the thing is. The way it is cheaper and better is to actually help the people in their own country. I don't care what people say. It's
yeah.
cheaper and it's better to help them in their own country. When you bring people to a country that they don't know the language, they don't respect the country. They don't want to meaning they
They
don't
don't
care
want to
about the
respect our
values or
laws.
whatever.
Respect our laws. Yeah.
Right. It just makes the country lose value. Well, that's the way I'll put it. It doesn't make the country better. That's all I'm trying to say. And anyway, what I'm trying to say is just this lady and these people, and I'm not just Democrats, Republicans, because Republicans, they don't have no balls.
No,
Look, the only
no, they
person,
don't.
the only person I like is Trump, because everybody else, man, I'm telling you, they don't have no balls. Because
Right.
how come the Democrats, they do everything they want? They do everything they want. And when it comes to Republicans, it's like they always have problems. They can't do this, or they have a hard time. That's the part I don't understand. What's going on? Grow some balls. Complain. Do something.
Right.
Oh, my God.
No. We're really bad at like going out into the streets and protesting and stuff. Republicans have always been bad at that. I mean, the Tea Party, but that kind of fizzled out kind of fast. But generally, Republicans, yeah, we generally don't go out and protest and walk the streets and yell and scream and stuff. We're like, again, we're busy. Most of us work. Most of us have jobs.
Exactly.
A lot of the people
We
marching on the
work and
left,
we
they're
do.
unemployed.
Exactly. And we're the type that you complain, okay, do whatever you want. The other party is like you do something and they already up your ass. You know what I mean? So
Right.
so it's understandable. It's understandable. But let me ask you something before I hang up.
Yeah.
What do you think? I mean, I hope I'm wrong, but for what I see, Texas, Ted Cruz almost lost.
Yeah, those close. The close race.
Okay, and Florida was pretty close too.
Very close.
Now, for what I hear, if they get, they already have California and New York. If they get Texas, they say if they don't get it by 2020, they'll get it by 2024. It's going to be a blue state.
Yeah, that guy from Red Elephants was doing the math on it, and the way he did the math, he looked like it was going to go blue by 2024.
That's what I got it. I got it from the Red Elephant too. Yeah. Okay, I got it. So you saw the same thing,
right?
Okay, and he said the same thing. If they lose Texas, because Texas they're putting a lot of Spanish people there too, so it's becoming the same, And then Florida too, and I forgot the other state. It's like 5 states.
Probably like Florida, probably Texas, Florida, North Carolina, and
New York, and
well, no, they're talking about They're talking about new states because New York and California have been blue for a long time. But as far as switching red states blue, let's see. I'm trying to think what they would be saying. Texas, Florida, and North Carolina. Those are 3. I'm trying to think of the other 2 that they think could go blue. Oh, maybe Arizona and
yeah, you know what? You're probably right. Probably Arizona. I know he said like 5 or 6. If we lose those states, he said forget it. That's it. I mean, they're always gonna get the ball. They'll get the popular vote for sure.
Mm-hmm.
But you know how they try now to take the what is it the vote, the college electoral vote. They
Oh,
trying to take that out.
they're trying to do away with the Well, in order for them to do away with the electoral college, though, they're gonna have to amend the Constitution, and that takes, let's see, 2/3 of both the House and the Senate,
Right.
and
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
does not require the president's signature, but 2/3 of the House and the Senate, and then I believe it's 3/4 of the state legislators have to approve of it.
Yeah, no, you're right about that. That I know. But they have another thing that they're trying to give. I'm not 100% sure about this, but it's something about, you know how they have each state have I don't know how many electoral votes. It depends how big it is or whatever.
Well, yeah,
They try to,
electoral votes. You take the number of congressmen in your state plus the two senators, and that gives you the number of like Nevada. We have 6 electoral votes because we have 4 Congress people and 2 senators. That gives us 6.
right. Well, they're trying to change that. I don't know how, but they're trying to change that. Oh, I don't know if it's going to happen, of course, but the Democrats, they're trying to change that. They want to get more votes. Like, let's see, California, it's a big state, so they want to get more votes for that. Something like that. The other day I heard it. I forgot who said it.
Well, they were trying to
Of
split the
course,
state up into 3 states, which would have then given them 2 senators from each of those 3 states. So instead of having 2 senators, they'd have 6. So that would help them out in the Senate, and then of course that would give them an additional. It'd still be the same number of Congress people from the House of Representatives based on the population, but they would give them an additional 4 senators, 4 electoral votes for California if they did it that way.
hey, Carl, this is totally different of what we're talking about. Okay, totally different. But you and Nanja need a spank, a good spank, because you guys keep smoking. I keep looking at it. I'm like, man, you guys are really bad, man. By the way, I used to smoke for 20 years. So I stopped. I stopped about 9 years ago. So don't get me wrong. I love the smell. I'm like, oh, every time I smell, I'm like, oh, man, I want a cigarette. But I'm good. I'm good. I like to smoke a cigar once in a blue moon. I smoke a cigar. I enjoy it. But you guys suck. Every time I see, I'm like, man, these guys taste bad. But anyway, man, I'm just.
Well, no, that was pretty cool that she
good.
smokes too, because I'm smoking, and then all of a sudden I look down at the camera, I look down at the video, and I see she smoking, and I'm like, well, that's really cool. I
Yeah,
hear 2 people
by the way, I'm
smoking on
just
air. That's
joking.
pretty.
I don't have a problem with people smoking. You know what? Hey, I'm the type that do whatever you want to do, as long as you don't affect me. As long as you don't bother me, I don't care what you do. I mean, you
Well, I
have
tell
your
you what, the
freedom,
next time
do whatever you
the
want.
next time I see you at a restaurant, I'm just gonna walk right up to you, sit next to you, and start smoking.
Yeah, and you know what I'm gonna do, right? I'll be spanking you
You be
like a little
spanking me.
boy.
You be spanking me.
Yeah.
Like, now, what you do is
uh,
you take a glass of water and you throw it at my face when I have the cigarette in my mouth, and you put the cigarette out.
Nah, I would never do that. No,
Well,
I
okay.
would
Well,
never
I
do
mean,
that.
that's an
I'd rather
idea.
spank you. I'm just kidding. Oh, listen. Oh, man, I was going to hang up, but I just remembered something.
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh my God. What was it? This lady? I heard today. Oh my God. What was it about? I had it in my head. I just forgot it right now. We were talking about the smoke. I forgot. You know what? Forget it. If I remember, I'll text it. I can't remember, but it was. Oh, fuck. I can't remember. I really wanted to tell you, but anyway, whatever. Let somebody. Oh, by the way, I think maybe I'm gonna pronounce it wrong. If I do, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, hon. It's Charity. She's
Charity.
beautiful. But she's here in the chat. I think she wants to call. So anyway, I'm gonna hang up so she can call. And I'm sorry if I did pronounce your name wrong.
Well,
But
no,
anyway, Carl, thank you again.
you got it really close. You were good. You're good. Oh no, hey, thanks for calling in, Laylo, man. Always good chat. Always good call.
Thank you, Carl. I'll talk to you soon.
All right,
Take care.
bye.
Bye.
And of course, that was the great Laylo calling in, also a fellow sub over on Axe Truth channel. And yeah, Laylo is always good for a good conversation. And I just want to thank him for the call in there. And I want to thank everybody from the chat room. And yeah, Charity, if you want to call in, that's fine. If you want to talk about any of the topics, a lot going on today in the news. And we covered a lot of the issues, but let's see what else we got here. Let's see. Oh, the Ultimate Virtue Signaler. If you let's see who had their event. Oh, Blexit had their event in Los Angeles, and there was this bald-headed, shaved-head white woman yelling at a bunch of the black guys. It sounded like I was in the car, so I didn't really get to see the video, but it sounded like David Harris was out there, and they're all wearing their "Make America Great Again" hats, and she was saying that they were racist for wearing the "Make America Great Again" hats. And tell them the hats represents racism. So that's the ultimate virtue signaler. Virtue signaler. Here she is trying to protect black people from being black, I guess, because these are black people doing their thing, and she was telling them that no, you're not behaving like black people. You let me, as a white woman, tell you black men how to behave like black men because you don't know. So yeah, and they're like looking at her like she's insane, which obviously she is. And again, that goes to that whole TDS, Trump derangement syndrome. Yeah, Nanya, that was. I didn't get. I was in the car, so it was on the cell phone, and I was listening to it, and I didn't want to like be looking at it too much because I didn't want to crash. But it sounded like David Harris's voice. It sounded like David Harris. Let's see. There we go. Yeah, it sounded like David Harris. Oh yeah, there's Texas RN. Hey, Texas RN, how you doing there, girl? How you going? And and the phone number is, if you look up above my head, if you're looking at the screen to my left, there's a number right there, 775-273-8970. It's in red. I wonder if the red is maybe not showing up good there. Let's see. I don't know. Maybe I'll put a different color on there. Can everybody see the red on the phone number, the 775-273-8970? I got the flag right behind it, so maybe it's kind of like concealing a little bit. But yeah, maybe I'll do something a little bit different next time to kind of make it show there a little bit better. Well, actually, hello, I can do this. I don't know why I didn't think about this one. Hold on. Let's see. There we go. There we go. Phone number 775-273-8970. I believe that's just what I said, right? I mean, that should be at 278-970. Okay, and watch this. Boom. Da-da, 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 da-da. So there you go. So that should be a little bit clearer. See, red isn't too great, but I think those watching on phone can see it well. Yeah, and then you'll see it. I'm punching it up. There you go. Hopefully that's a little bit better. And in fact, I can probably increase the font on that. In fact, I know I can. Let's see. Or are we here? Yep, there you go. We have a phone call coming in. Area code 919. Call. You're on. Yep. Hello. Hello, caller. Yep. Lost you. All right, caller, I lost you there. If you want to call back, that'll be fine. Sorry, I did not hit the right button fast enough. I do not know what happened, but I do apologize. So we'll get you back on here in a second. So if you want to call back, that'll be fine. Sorry about that. I don't know. Oh, here we go. Let's try this now. Hello, caller. You're on with Carl's Opinion. Who's this?
Hey, Carl, it's Charity.
Hey, Charity. How you doing?
Good. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you just fine. Definitely, I can totally hear you. Can you hear me?
Oh, yeah, the connection's great.
Oh, okay, very good. Yeah,
So,
you should definitely be on the air. And if anybody can't hear Charity, please somebody say I cannot hear Charity. But everybody should be able to hear you just fine.
yeah, I lost my house phone somewhere in my house this week, so I have to use the cell phone.
Oh, geez, that's too bad. I'm sorry about that.
Yeah, it was just a cheap phone. I'll just go to Walmart or somewhere and get another one, but I'm not used to using the cell phone because the reception can be a little, wonky. But I figured I'd call.
Depending on where you are and stuff. Yeah, it can definitely, be a little bit messed up. If you're in like in a rural area or something like that, or you have a lot of people using cell phones and the tower sucks. Yeah, it can kind of mess you up for sure.
Yeah, it's weird. They charge you an arm and a leg for it, but it doesn't. Can't live with it. You can't live without it.
No, no, it's funny because like I always wondered what did we do before cell phones. I remember like always having to pull over to stop at a payphone. And of course, there are no more payphones anywhere, so that it's kind of funny right there in of itself.
It's funny you said that because I found one the other day,
Oh my God!
and I was trying to take a video. I was trying to videotape it because I couldn't believe that there was still a phone booth.
Yeah, yeah, like most, like even at the courthouse where I practice, we had two payphones inside the courthouse. And then somebody took them away. I guess that nobody was using them. That they weren't profitable. It was maybe they were paying rent. I don't know. I don't know what the deal was. All of a sudden they were there one day. Then like about 3, 4 years ago, they just took them out of there. But because nobody was I don't care how poor you are. Everybody's got a cell phone.
I highly doubt that the one I found was even connected anymore. It's probably just the long lost.
It was probably it was like an urban legend. It's like, look, we've heard of these things. We've read about them in history books. Is that like one of those phone thingies? You ever watch that movie? I forgot the name of it. It was about like the fraternity house living next door to the adults and the sorority house. And anyway, it's funny because they had one of those old
Oh,
phones.
that was just a couple years ago, right?
Yeah, and the young girl gets caught on the phone line, and she goes, "What's that?" She goes, and he goes, "It's a phone." He goes, "Oh no, old people's phone," because like the phone line attached to
Yeah.
the wall. Yeah, but
It's
yeah,
scary. This generation doesn't have any idea what it was like to try to talk on, just 20 feet of cord.
yeah, and the sad part is this whole social media thing and the cell phones are supposed to bring us closer together and make us more social. So hence the phrase social media. It's done just the opposite. These kids they'll text each other, and I remember I asked this one kid. I said, well, the amount of time you just took texting this person, you could have just, I mean, literally, you're on the phone. You could have just hit the phone button and just called this person and talked to him and got done a lot faster. And then this kid tells me, yeah, but then I have to talk to him. And I'm like, yeah, that's the
Yeah.
point. It's
People
like,
don't like to talk on the phone anymore. It's even like that,
yeah.
just in general with work and stuff. And I'm like, no, I pick up the phone and call me. I'm not going to sit here and peck and point and, try to get my point across in a text. Pick up the darn phone.
No, it's and because they don't want to interact, and we wonder why they're all like snowflakes, and they're afraid of hearing the other opinion because when you're texting, if somebody you can just stop, you can just turn the phone off, and then the other person really doesn't know that you hung up on them. Versus, so they can say, "Oh, the phone must have dropped," or "I didn't see your last text." So you don't learn how to like confront people in a positive way. You don't learn how to deal with problems and stuff, and which makes you a tougher person, a better person. Because you can just like, oh, I didn't get your last text. Versus if you're actually talking to him, you can't say, well, I didn't talk to you. Yeah, I did. I talked to you. Yeah, I heard you talking, and I didn't like what you had to say. And then you have to actually confront people. So we get all these snowflakes now. Have never had to like even confront their friends because they don't have to.
Exactly.
They're on text phones.
And they'll block each other if they want.
Oh, yeah, and that too. They block each other. Like, we never had the ability to block somebody. But yeah, and you have adults doing that too. I mean, people in their 50s, they'll block people on the phone. And it's like, what are you, like 12? You're blocking me? It's like, well, I mean, especially when I already noticed, it's like, well, don't you want to talk? It's like, no, I blocked you. It's like, well, shit, well, what if it's an emergency? I got to, call. It's like, oh, well, you're blocked.
Yeah, it's like really bizarre. I've noticed that a lot too with a lot of the, different platforms and stuff. Like not just YouTube, but all the platforms really with the videos and people have their little, their shows and then somebody comes on and for some reason, even if they're behaving themselves, if they don't like the person or they had a personal issue or I have no idea where it comes from, but they just cut them off and block them, and you never hear their side of the story. You don't know what happened.
Right. Yeah, no, I mean,
I'm
you
like,
don't,
we're
right,
a
you don't,
bunch of adults.
no, they're not. And no, because, like, you'll see, like, a panel discussion, and you'll see that a lot where somebody disagrees, and, like, they're not being obnoxious or vulgar. It's like, nah, I just don't feel like hearing, I don't feel like debating that issue. Click, and they'll just block them, mute them, whatever. And you're like, well, okay. And, I was talking to, was it Laylo? I was talking to him earlier because we both, go on Anthony Brian Logan's show. And he was just saying he was giving his opinion, and he next thing you know he gets removed or blocked or whatever from the comment section. And I said, yeah, there was this one moderator over there. I said something, and I generally say halfway intelligent things, and he kind of criticized it, and I was gonna like get into it with him. I'm like, well, okay, who gives a shit, But I mean, it's like it's okay to have a little bit of dissent, and there were some people on that show saying, oh, Trump, Trump looked bad, Trump backed down. It's like, oh, don't say that on this site. It's like, well, no, we're conservatives. We debate these things. We're allowed to express an opinion that maybe you don't like. We're not liberals. I mean, like, what are you doing?
It's so funny that you said that, because I can't even believe it. It was a different platform, though. And that is pretty much the same thing that happened when I heard this other show tonight. They were saying, if you could talk about that privately, if somebody has an opinion that they're not happy, that that they feel like he gave in a little bit. And they were like, you can talk about it privately, but everybody that's still on the fence, you're not part of the movement, and we don't want you. And, so this one guy called in, and he's like, it's the people on the fence that got Trump elected.
Right.
So we have to have an open dialect, or you're just, you're not on the right side. You're on the left.
Right. No, exactly.
And that's what happened. They kicked the guy off, and they started calling him terrible names, and I was like, what?
Yeah, that's kind of crazy. No, that's you're exactly right. The people who are sitting on the fence are what is what. Let's see, people are what, I don't know what the hell the verb is. But anyway, those people got him elected. You're right. The independents who were like a little to the right, maybe a little bit to the left, it was the independents, because you can't just get elected with your base. The Democrats can't get elected with their base. We can't get elected with our base. We need the independents. So when somebody comes in and says, hey, I like Donald Trump. I voted for him, but, I think he was wrong on this issue, and he looked weak, and he did back down, and Pelosi got the better of him, and she gets all the hay in the media. If you express that opinion, that's not like, oh, we don't want to hear that. It's like, well, wait a second. Of course you do want to hear that, because maybe it's important to discuss that. And so they actually kicked him off the site, and they started making fun of him and shit?
Yeah, and they're grown adults.
Oh,
but
that's
what
crazy.
I found, like, a big part of this movement, you have to really weed out people that are in it for the right reasons sometimes. And sometimes even I don't catch on right away. But in all reality, there are people that just don't have facts to back up anything. Because I would have just explained to him different reasons behind it, different, speculation on why maybe it'll be better for us to wait until, February 15th or whatever. I would have tried to share some different insights, but I just don't think these people have that ability. They're kind of...
Right.
And I'm not saying everybody, because definitely not you, and, there are certain channels that are, they're not flim-flam, they're not flip-flopping.
Right. No, I mean, yeah, I mean, we have to be able to be honest about, the people we like. I mean, we like Donald Trump, but if he does something wrong, we have to be able to call him on it, because it makes him better, it makes him a better president, it makes him responsive to us. But you're right, there are some people who, they kind of got into this whole Donald Trump thing, but, and I'm fine they came on board, and I'm fine they voted for him, because we couldn't have won without these people. But there are a lot of people who just came out because he's obnoxious and he's in your face. Okay, but because they're kind of obnoxious and they're in your face. But I mean, I had to pull off this one show because some idiot came. It was a talk show, it was a panel, and I jumped onto it, and then I had to jump out of it because this moron came onto it and was just talking stupid shit, and I'm like, I mean,
Probably was the same channel.
probably the you know what? It probably was the same channel, but this was like about a week or two ago. And then after I left, I was listening to it, and they said, "Oh boy, he wimped out." It's like, no, I just didn't feel like being associated with this. That's my name up there. That's my face. I mean, I don't want to be
Oh my
associated with a
gosh, that's
moron.
how I felt.
Yeah,
I said that. I was like, I really got to pay more attention to the people that, try to throw you a wrench for no reason. You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah.
I don't want my name there. And
Right,
I took my last name off of YouTube because I realized, not that many charity,
right,
it's not
right.
hard. And
No,
I kind of want to keep a decent reputation, not
yeah,
just professionally, but,
yeah. I
it's
mean,
just,
I like debating, political issues, historical issues, social issues, but I don't want to. I mean, you can't have a conversation with somebody that's a complete idiot. I mean, it's just taking a position because they don't know anything. It's like I can't talk to that person. You know.
no. And the cursing and the screaming some people start in with too. They love to, start yelling over you or over whoever. And I just think it's,
Well, no, that's no fun.
we had Jerry Springer for what, 30 years? We really don't need to deal with it all the time. We can watch the reruns.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. They're fun. We can watch people throwing chairs at each other and stuff like that. We can watch that on Jerry Springer. We don't need to watch it anywhere else. But
Yeah, I'm like, that's all right.
yeah,
But it's hard. It's really hard to find anywhere that you can, share opinions and get different insight. And that's why I think these kind of platforms and you opening up yours, they're helpful. They really are, because a lot of us like to talk about it, and there's not many people willing to talk. There's really
well,
in
yeah,
certain places.
you're right, and that's why I started. When I first, I've had the channel for a year or so, and then I just kind of started playing around with the idea of like, I think that the Trump derangement syndrome was starting to get to me, and so I said, I got to start saying something about this because people that I've known for years that have trusted my opinion for years suddenly were calling me names and all kinds of stupid shit and not listening, and I couldn't get like a word in edgewise, not listening to anything I had to say. And I'm like, and then I was watching the news and I was catching MSNBC and CNN, and they were just going berserko. I mean, some of the things that were coming out of their mouths were just nuts. So I just started doing videos. The next thing I know, I started getting into this live streaming and started playing around with it. But I think you're right. I think it is important for us to have a lot of platforms, but it's also important for us to be able to allow differing points of view. I mean, if somebody wants to call in and troll me and be obnoxious and curse and use all kinds of vulgar language, no, they're not getting through. I screen my calls, and you're not going to get on. But if someone wants to call in and they're a liberal or a leftist and they have an intelligent position and they want to articulate it and they can back it up, hey man, I'll debate you all day long. I used to do that all the time back in the 80s and the 90s, back when you could debate people without getting, yelled at, you know?
It's so hard to find now, though. I'm always trying to understand from even friends and a little bit of family that hasn't, written me off because of my stand. And it's really difficult. I'm finding it, I mean, I know I'm from, and I live in New York, and I'm from New York, but I find it really hard. And there's a lot of Trump supporters here, but I don't know. It's not the same. People don't want to talk about it. It's like they're
Yeah.
just,
Well, plus,
they're
they're
on
probably
the
a lot of them are probably
phone.
afraid. It's like I was comparing it to like
Yeah.
like the early Christians, and I'm Catholic, so I know a little about the history because I went to Jesuit school, and like the early Christians, like you had to be afraid of the Romans, picking you up and literally throwing you to the lion. So you were afraid, you didn't know who you were talking to, whether it was like a Roman spy or was a real Christian. So like the one guy be sitting there in the stand, he would draw like half a like circle, and then if the other guy finished it off, like to make a fish, and that's where the fish sign came from in the Christian religion, because that's how they used to determine if the guy you were talking to, like if you met him on the trail, like in the desert or whatever, if you drew half a circle, like the bottom half of the circle, then he would come in and draw the top half of the circle, make it look like a fish, and then you knew he was a Christian also. You could talk to him. And
Oh,
and I feel like that's what goes on now. It's like a lot of us are afraid to talk to somebody because you don't know if you're going to start getting yelled at or whatever. So like we almost need to like start drawing fishes like in I don't know, like you hold up your phone with a fish picture on it or say, hey, are you normal? you know, can
well,
I
yeah, and
talk to
even in
you?
even in certain, professional settings, like where I had worked for, a good 3-4 years, it was alarming because there were certain people that were, higher up and stuff. And once they thought that you were a Trump supporter, forget it.
Oh yeah, you weren't going to advance. Yeah.
Oh yeah, you were done for.
Yeah. And so then,
You
like,
know,
and
so
then
it's
and then
like,
and then how do you prove that? How do you prove that you got passed over because of your political views? Good luck.
yeah, you can't.
No.
We're a one-party state, but you really can't record people if you're in a private well,
Right. Right.
So it's kind of your word against theirs, but you can tell.
Well, yeah, it's funny you
You
said
can
you
definitely
said
tell.
New York. I'm originally from Suffolk County, out in Stony Brook, Port Jeff area, out in Long Island.
Oh, I know that. Yep, I know where that is.
Yeah.
I used to live in Westchester, and then I went up to Dutchess trying to find, more affordable taxes. Now I'm just trying to find every way I can to move the hell out of here.
Yeah.
It's not the place to raise kids. It's impossible. It's just disgusting.
Well, it's funny because when I was talking about this earlier about Californians stay in California because it seems like all the good states they're all moving to like I used to always say Idaho's a good place, but from what I hear, like Idaho's like the number one state people from California are moving to. So I mean they're going to go up there,
Well,
start voting blue, start voting Democrat, and start messing up that state. It's like it's
well, it's like the same thing with what's happening in New York. Most of the people leaving are blue. A lot of them, I mean, if you look at the statistics and the data of everybody that leaves, I mean, there's lots of people like me, I'm sure, that are conservative that just, want to raise their children where they don't have to worry about losing them to CPS over a flu shot if you don't do the flu shot. But, I mean, there's some really scary things that are going on here, and
yeah.
people aren't aware of them at all. And that's what got me really vocal about it, where I'm like, well, I'm not some highly educated big shot, so I can make it elsewhere. It's okay, if people are going to be ticked off with my little associate's degree, like.
Well, it's like
Sometimes you have to speak out.
well, no, you have to speak out, and what the number of years you have, in the formal education system of this country, which is becoming worse and worse anyway. So it's whatever degrees are being handed out right now, as far as like a bachelor's or a master's or a graduate, they're not worth as much as they used to be. So when you see somebody with like a master's degree, I'd kind of question it and ask them what online class they took. That kind of thing. So I mean, the fact that you only have an associate, if you're informed, if you're looking at, I like looking at I subscribe to the Washington Times. It's an online email. You get the email newspaper. I use it a lot on the show. Like I'll bring it up. I didn't have it today because they don't. The only thing is they don't do their email paper, electronic paper on the weekends. I don't know why, but they don't.
Oh.
Yeah, so I like using their articles as the issues to discuss. But yeah, I mean, if you're reading, you're on YouTube, you're looking at different issues, and when I hear somebody talking about a topic I don't know, I quick Google it to kind of look it up and see what's going on. If you're doing all those things, then formal education or not, you're probably more informed than 95% of the population in this country.
Oh, definitely. It's that's what's happening to everybody excuse me, right now. They're ignorant. They don't want to learn.
No.
Nobody looks into things. I had pardon me.
Sure.
I had a huge debate with a very good friend of mine that I was friends with for years, and we never get into politics. But this time she brought stuff up about the immigration and the wall, and she said, I don't want to start you, but we lived without a wall for years, so you can't tell that this is all made up or whatever. I forgot how she brought it up, and she's right under a doctor too. What is that? A nurse practitioner?
Yeah.
She can do prescriptions and.
Right.
But anyway,
yeah.
I was just saying that because, like you said, with education. But and I told her, I said, but think about it. Like New York, just like California, I said, we have all these new laws. So they have all this sanctuary here. And I know because when I was deciding if I was going to further trying to get a certificate, the college had given me the brochure for the illegal immigrants rule book, basically, except it says immigrant. But it's for illegal immigrants, but it's not, we're not allowed to say that. They're immigrants. And yeah, I was like, oh God, this was such a waste of my time doing human services. And in the book, it talks about how, how to get the SNAP benefits, how to get the HUD, how to get medical, all of these resources that are supposed to be for people that need it, right?
Right.
And she flipped out and she's like, that's not true. That's a lie. There's no such thing. They can't work. They can't this. And when they work, they pay taxes. They don't qualify for SNAP. She just went crazy on me.
Yeah, well, the point is,
but I'll send you the brochure. I said it's right online. You can go read it yourself. It's on NewYork.gov. And she hasn't spoken to me since.
wow. And how long did you know her for?
A lot of brainwashing.
How long did you know her for?
Oh God, I'm in my mid-30s, and I met her when I was like 4.
Oh,
we were neighbors.
Wow. Yeah. That's pretty. That's insane. Well, the point is, she goes, well, we've always, we lived without a wall until now. Well, not really. I mean, we've always had border fencing. In 2006, they spent a lot of money on it. 2012, they spent some more money on it. But the point is, yeah, we haven't had one for years, and look at the mess we're in now. I mean,
but my point to her was trying to explain why we're getting so many more, and why it's depleting, and why it's putting a burden on our taxes, and getting these crazy abortion advocates, to kill 9-month-old fetuses.
Yeah, crazy.
I was like, this is why, it is happening, and she's like, no, we don't do any of that. None of that's for that. I'm like, oh Lord. This is sad.
No, I
don't yell, get mad, but I was like, wow, you're not even going to read the brochure? We're supposed to hand these out to these people.
Right. It's like, just why I mean, why not at least read it? Just read.
Yeah.
It's not like you photoshopped it or drafted it and then put somebody's letterhead on it. I mean, this was a real brochure you were handed to work to hand out. I mean, that's
Yeah, no, the college had it.
Yeah.
And but it doesn't even matter. I mean, they have it in a brochure form, in a pamphlet form, but it's right on the website. So you don't have to take the brochure. You don't have to find one. You can go right online, and you could read it on New York government site.
Oh, jeez. No, I mean, for some reason, I don't know what's changed. I mean, this is like real recent. I mean, this is like maybe the last 7, 8 years, and definitely in the last 2. I mean, hyper so much in the last 2. I don't know. Maybe we just didn't notice it. 8 years ago, maybe we weren't paying attention that this was kind of slowly happening. But it started like in the college campuses, and then those people who graduated are now out there, spreading their illness to everybody else. But it seemed like it started in the college campuses, and it's just been kind of morphing into society at large. And I
think you're right. I think that was the home base, so to speak.
Yeah, you got to remember a lot of those professors who were like now, teaching like in the early 2000s and late 90s. I mean, these guys are all products of the 60s. I mean, what's his name? Bill Ayers. I mean, the Weatherman Underground. His thing was blowing up buildings, and he realized he didn't stop because he thought like, oh, this I don't want to blow up buildings. He stopped because he realized it wasn't effective. And then his plan was, well, wait a second, why don't we just go back to the old playbook? Let's get into academia. Well, now he's a professor at the University of Chicago, and and his wife is a professor at the University of Chicago, and then they brought a whole bunch of their friends in, and then their friends, and professors are complaining about this as far as if they're on the conservative side and they teach a class and they say something conservative or something, the students report them to up the ladder. They have to get investigated. They go through all this investigation and everything, just for speaking their opinion, speaking their mind. And, conservative professors are getting run off college campuses. I think Jonathan Haidt, I don't know if you ever listened to him or watch anything he does, but he said it was always a liberal bias, like in the social sciences, and like years ago, it was like maybe 2 or 3 to 1, ratio as far as liberals to conservatives in the social sciences, and now it's like something like 20 to 1 or some crazy number,
Yeah.
25 to 1. And even in the STEM area, it's starting to change as well. Like, I don't know if you ever watched Gad Saad. He's a professor at University of Toronto. He's originally from Lebanon, and then he emigrated to Canada. And he talks about that because he's a professor, and he talks about how it's creeping into the engineering fields and medical fields and stuff like that at the undergraduate level and even into the graduate level, where like engineering students have to write like take a test on diversity and things like that. I mean, like diversity in engineering, like diversity in physics. I mean, physics is physics. I mean, it's math, it's science, it's physics. I mean, what's
It's
diversity?
absurd.
Yeah, what does diversity have to do with that? I mean, a square is a square is a square. Period.
It's absolutely absurd.
Yeah.
And they don't even do hands-on training in the ways that they should anymore. You learn by doing. You don't learn by listening. I know you can learn a lot by listening, but at the end of the day, depending on what you're going into, you have to try it.
Oh, no.
You have to do it.
No, I totally agree. I mean, I learned more like probably in the first 6 months of practicing law than I learned in 3 years in law school. I mean, probably the first 3 months of practicing law than I learned in 3 years in law school. Because you can read all the books you want, and you can read how to do this, how to do that, what this means. But it's not until you're actually doing it, and when the rubber meets the road, and you actually have to get something done, and then you really see how things work. So I totally agree. There's book smart, ivory tower smart, the professor sitting there. I'll give you a great example. I was at University of California in 1987, something like that. And anyway, the Southern California the traffic is like the worst in the country. And the 101 freeway, which comes out of LA and heads north up into like the San Fernando Valley, into the valley, like the Valley Girl, it heads up there. That was like the busiest highway. That had the record for the busiest highway in the country. Well, the 91 freeway that comes from Riverside, San Bernardino, and that's where people commute to go to work in LA or Orange County, like Irvine, Newport Beach, that kind of stuff. And 91 freeway actually beat them out. We became the busiest freeway in the country. And so they asked the citizens of Riverside and San Bernardino to pay an extra half-cent sales tax, to expand the freeway. And the money was going to go directly to expand that freeway. Well, it got voted in overwhelmingly. There was the 91 freeway and the 60 freeway, which are the two main arteries into L.A. and Orange County. And anyway, it was a professor at my university, and his commute he lived down University of California Riverside was like at one end of the street, and he lived at the other end of the street. So his commute was driving down one street with maybe like 3 stoplights. And he said, "Wow, I can't believe the people of Riverside actually voted for a tax increase. I can't believe people actually voted for a tax increase." I go, "That's because you live in an ivory tower at one end of the road, and your commute consists of like 15 minutes." I go, "You ought to get on." I go, and so I used to tell him I used to work construction. I used to drive that road in. And when I worked construction, if I wasn't on the highway before 3:30, I was looking at red lights all the way in, stop and go traffic. And he goes, "Are you serious?" I go, "Yeah." And then I was interning for an assemblyman right before that vote was taken. And again, he lived like in this little town, and his commute consisted of the back roads from like Hammond into Riverside. He never touched the freeway, and he could. And so he says, "Well, the traffic can't be that bad." So California Department of Transportation, Caltrans, they took him on a helicopter flight at 4:00 in the morning. And he goes, 4:00 in the morning? He goes, "What are you going to show me at 4:00 in the morning?" He goes, "You'll see." So he said, "Okay." So at 4:00 in the morning, he's up in this helicopter, and he said, "I could not believe it. It was red lights. It was pitch black, of course. It's 4 a.m. Red lights all the way in from like Riverside, all the way into like to Anaheim, Disneyland, that kind of stuff." He goes, "Carl, if you told me, I would have never believed it until I saw it. I couldn't believe 4:00 in the morning, there are people sitting in stop-and-go traffic trying to get into work." I said, "Yes." And so, if you're a professor living in that ivory tower, and you're not actually living around the people, and then you're teaching like, "Oh, socialism is great," but you never lived in a socialist country like Hungary or Bulgaria or Czechoslovakia, before the Cold War ended, and you're teaching your students how great it is, and they're just sucking it up because they don't know any better, because they're young and they're impressionable, and that's what you get. And then that goes from academia right into the general population, and we get stuck with these idiots running around telling us how great socialism is, and all this other shit they're passing out to us now.
Oh yeah, it's all rainbows and butterflies and unicorns, and it's the perfect world which isn't possible.
Yeah, I mean, but go find a 60-year-old guy who lived in Poland when the Soviet Union was in charge of it, or Czechoslovakia, or Hungary, or Romania, or Bulgaria. Trust me, they'll have a different story. I mean, those people standing on top of the wall in 1989, screaming and yelling "Hooray!" when the wall was coming down. These kids today would probably look at that and go, "Gee, why are they so happy?" They wouldn't understand the
Yeah.
concept.
No, they'd probably try to equate it to the border wall.
I didn't even think of that. That's good. Yeah, they probably say, "Oh, those assholes in their border wall. Look at them. They're
Yeah.
and look at them. Oh, yeah, oh God, you're right. Oh God, I didn't even think about that. Yeah, you're right. That's terrible."
So I know it's awful. So many people think that somehow $5 billion or $5.7 billion was going to pay from a border wall. For lack of better terms, I know it's been overused, but from sea to shining sea. That
Right.
makes me laugh. It's like, yes, $5 billion would have definitely covered the wall through the whole side.
No, they needed another 25 billion, and but no, the thing with the wall is the reason why they hate the wall is because they know that's a permanent structure. See, you can always do what Obama did. You can pull resources off the border. You can do this. You can do that. But that wall, in order for you to take it down, would literally take an act of Congress to actually start, bulldozing it out of existence. And that would take a lot of political will because you'd have to explain why we're taking it down. Because they know once that wall is up, it's up. And yeah, somebody can
And
climb over it, but it's sitting there.
and steel barriers and concrete walls don't take bribes or payoff.
Right, exactly. You can't bribe a steel slot. It's not gonna take your money.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, and plus they don't like the message it sends. The message says, "Hey, you can't come in this way. You have to go over there by the the port of entry, like El Paso or L.A. or not L.A. Or San Ysidro down by south of San Diego. You have to actually walk up there and say, I wish to become a citizen, or you have to go to the embassy in your country and say, the United States Embassy, say, I want to apply for citizenship, something." Anything. I don't care. But you can't just jump over a fence and say, I'm an American. I mean, Christ, I think Gallup did a poll. There was something like 180 million people who live in South and Central America who said if they had the opportunity, they would move to the United States. We can't afford to take all those people in.
Well, that's why they're trying to come in droves, because it's been over politicized, by Pelosi and Schumer and people like even Cuomo. More and more people are going to come because they know once they get to certain places, they're going to have it all. And we all know it's not going to last financially. So,
yeah.
And that's what gets me the most is that whenever I just try to ask somebody, what is the big deal with putting up, secure barriers certain places, if you can get them to admit that border security is even needed nowadays, because oh my God, a lot of these people don't even think that it should happen.
Well,
and it's because they have no concept on the reality behind what it does,
Well, no, and plus
not just financially, but your safety. Things are different nowadays.
Yeah, and if you're a Border Patrol agent, of course they want the wall because it slows down whoever's coming across. I mean, at least it gives you like a second or two or a minute to get your wits about you and say, oh shit, there's somebody getting ready to climb over that thing. I better figure out what I'm going to do. Versus, there's nothing between you and the bad guy coming across, and you don't know if it's a migrant looking for work or if it's a drug dealer with a gun and a criminal history, doesn't want to go to prison, and it's going to shoot you. So he doesn't have to get arrested and go to prison. But if you have that wall there, it kind of like slows it down a little bit where you can kind of like have a little like you can get behind a wall, if you will, and it can give you a little kind of breathing room so you can, protect yourself better and do your job better. Now, they just don't want it because, he wants it and they don't want to give him the win because I figured, and Schumer was already beating him up for reopening the government. I mean, after he says, okay, we'll reopen the government, then he beats him up. Oh, he backed down. He's a pussy, pretty much. And it's like, yeah, okay, let's see if he's going to back down again next time. My guess is since you're acting like this time, probably not. Probably not. And
See,
then
to me, it makes sense why he did what he did, because, and I could be wrong. It's just my guess is that when all of this started, we still were in control, so to speak. The right was still in control of the House, right, and the Senate.
yeah,
And then they took over in January, and he took responsibility for the shutdown. But now this all throws it back to them. Because think about how when Schumer got up there and he was explaining, in front of them how they came to a deal. They took all the credit for this.
yeah.
So on February 15th, from what I've been able to read up on, I can't seem to find really concrete good facts, but from what it seems like is at that time, that's also when the taxes are going to be, people will be getting refunds. Some people, most of us know. Well, we might this time, right? I guess we might.
Well, yeah, you don't have that individual mandate tax to pay, so that's good.
Yeah. Well, New York is trying to bring all that back, but that's different. And they're trying to make their own Obamacare here now.
Oh, God.
And but if you think about it, the timing of it, I feel like is going to give Trump even more. I don't know how to put, not more credit, but more. Darn it, I can't think of the word, but basically, he'll be able to come in and try, if he has to, do a national emergency.
Yeah.
Because I think the taxes also qualify as a national emergency.
The what qualifies as a national emergency?
The taxes, from what I was reading, but that's what I'm not 100% sure about.
Oh, okay. In other words, if in order to get people their tax refunds, does that qualify? Actually, I researched this for a video I did about 2 weeks ago, and there really is no he can only quote unquote declare a national emergency for there's a list of things he can do for a national emergency, but I mean it's a big list. And back like in '75, they were limiting some of it, and then they came back and said, okay, we really can't limit it, and so it's pretty much wide open in the specific statutes, and it's title. Let me see if I can pull it up. Hold on, let me see here, and I can do a screen capture on it. Let's see. Hold on. Let's see
definitely be
if I lose everybody, I apologize in advance, but I don't think I will. Let me see if I can get this here. Let's see. Nope, wrong one. I keep putting this wrong one up here. Let's see. Hold on. There it is. Let's see, it's 10 USC 284. And let me open this other one. All right, let me see, hold on. And input. Let's see where it is. Bop.
Yeah, I don't know why. I just really.
Yeah, okay, there it is. There. I'm gonna take down the phone. Let me take down the phone number real quick so you can see it better. Is that big enough font? Can you see that?
Let me check.
Let me see. Let me pull the font up a little bit.
Oh, it would help if I fast forwarded because I muted it so I wouldn't have an echo. Oh, I see. Yep, I can see. Oh, so you did a whole deal on it. I got to go back and watch it.
Yeah, okay. So anyway, well, no, I mean, I can just give it to you right here. Let me get back over here. All right, so, hey, then let me do this. I can put myself right there. Hey, there I am. Okay, so basically, this is 33 USC title, I believe it's Title 33, United States Code 2293, and it talks about, this is a national emergency, reprogramming during national emergencies, termination or deferment of civil works projects, application of resources to national defense projects in the event of a declaration of war or a declaration by the President of a national emergency. The Secretary of Defense, may terminate or defer the construction, operation, maintenance, or repair of any department of the Army Civil Works project that he deems not essential to the national defense, and apply the resources of the Department of the Army Civil Works program, including funds, personnel, and equipment, to construct or assist in the construction, operation, maintenance, and repair of authorized civil works, military construction, and civil defense projects that are essential to the national defense. The big thing on this one is that equipment system construction operation. Basically, in other words, as long as there has been a project already appropriated by Congress. Now, what the two projects that, in other words, in like, okay, for instance, like the 2006 border fencing bill. When Obama came in office in 2009, there were a couple, like something like 250 or 350 miles of border fencing that had still not been done, and he terminated the construction of it. So you have, that's already been appropriated by Congress. So he can switch money from, like, say, upgrading a base or bases overseas, switch that money, the Secretary of Defense can switch that money over to an authorized project, which is that one. And then in 2012, they authorized more fencing, I believe, and I don't believe that's been ever completed as well. So he can't, and there's no, again, the requirements for him declaring a national emergency is very wide open. When you look at how it can be undone, it can be undone, but it would take a veto-proof majority of the House and the Congress to terminate it. And pretty much all the president has to do is report to the Congress, like he has certain reporting requirements, like the War Powers Act. He has to report certain things over time. He has to specify to the Congress exactly what statute he's using, what previous appropriation he's using to declare the emergency, and what funds are going to be sent over there. And so it can be done. It's just that it would get tied up in the courts initially. They would file an action in a U.S. District Court. It would go up on appeal. It would take a while to get to the Supreme Court. But I think normally Congress has the power to appropriate funds. Unless Congress, that's Article 1, unless Congress carves out an exception. This statute here, 33 U.S.C. 2293, was an exception to Congress's right, the power of the purse. They gave the executive branch this specific power in the case when they declare a national emergency or a declaration of war. And there's another statute that's even fun to look at, and this one, and I didn't get the initial research on this. This was done by a law professor at the Chapman University School of Law, and he was on Tucker Carlson actually. And the other statute to look at is this one. Let's see. Hold on. Let's pull it up right this way. There we go. This is, you should be seeing this now. Yeah. 10 United States Code Section 284. Support for counter-drug activities and activities to counter transnational organized crime. Now, this one is even more fun to read. And basically, by
national organized crime?
Yeah, in other words, basically like transnational organized crime, drug cartels.
Yeah.
Southern border.
Yeah. Sorry. That was my enthusiastic point.
Yeah, so.
It really was here.
Oh, no, totally cool. But yeah, it says by the appropriate official of a state, local, or tribal. And this even says where the state can make the request too, like say the state of Texas Attorney General, the state of Texas Governor can make a request, or subsection 2, in the case of support described in subsection C, such support is requested by an appropriate official of a department or agency of the federal government. That would necessarily be like the Drug Enforcement Agency, which I believe is under Homeland Security. You say, hey, yeah, we're having problems with these cartels bringing drugs across. Yay. easy
Oh,
speasy,
wow.
right? And then in coordination with the Secretary of State that has counter drug responsibilities or responsibilities for countering transnational organized crime. And then it goes on and talks about the types of support for the agencies of the United States, the purposes for which the Secretary of State or Secretary of Defense may provide support under subsection A for other departments or agencies, drug enforcement agency of the federal government, or a state, local, or tribal enforcement, tribal law enforcement agencies are the following. And subsection 7 of that specifically says, you see at the bottom, and I highlighted it, using the money for the construction of roads and fences and installation of lighting to block drug smuggling corridors across this, across international. Let's see, I'm gonna get down over here.
Wow, that's incredible. I haven't heard
Okay.
that one. That one is really,
Yeah, and again,
wow.
this isn't my research. So I don't want to take credit for it. This was a professor that was on. I want to say Tucker Carlson, and he's from Chapman University, where he was saying the president could declare a national emergency. And also, he has this other statute he could use to build fences. I mean, that's why in that one speech he gave from the Oval Office, he kept saying, well, the Democrats want to call it fences, I'll call it fences then. Because obviously his attorneys
Yeah.
were reading this statute and said, fine, I'll call it a fence. Yeah, we need fence. Let's do that.
And they've already labeled the opiate, the opiate epidemic and all of that stuff. So all that groundwork has already been laid.
Oh, yeah. I mean, look, nobody's going to. I mean, if you go to U.S., if somebody challenges, like, say, he uses this statute here, 10 U.S. United States Code 284, I mean, you're going to go to a U.S. District Court judge and say, we don't have a drug problem coming across the southern border? Like, who's going to be able to say that with a straight face? That's true. Nobody denies that
Yeah.
there are a shitload of drugs coming across the southern border, and we're not stopping them. And they keep
No,
coming
they just
across.
deny how they're getting here. They just pretend, they're all underground or hidden in these trucks, which is what makes me laugh when they talk about the drones and all this other technology, because obviously we already utilize it to a certain extent and we still can't find everything. So,
No, they're still getting it across. And so if the DEA goes to the Secretary of State and says, hey, I need some help here because we can't stop this, and then they say, oh, and by the way, we need some fences, and it's like, well, okay, we'll just use this statute and let's construct some more fences along the southern border for drug interdiction from a transnational organized crime syndicate to with the drug cartels in Mexico.
yeah,
So
just mind-boggling, because when you talk about certain things, it just, makes your head hurt almost that people don't get it. It's
what?
like
Yeah.
they must live under a rock. I don't understand where they come from.
Yeah, I don't quite get it myself, to be honest with you. I don't understand, what the deal with that is. So, yeah, I mean,
But did anybody else want to call in? I feel bad. I hope I didn't put everybody to sleep.
I don't know. Let me see. Where's my Google tab here? Where's this go? Okay. Oh, did I lose? I might have lost everybody. Did I lose? My Google tab went away. Oh no! I think we lost everybody. Let me see. I wonder if I closed off Google.
They were there the last time when you put
Yeah, they were
the
there.
alarm wasn't that long
Do you,
ago.
do you, do you see? Are you on YouTube right now? Am I still up?
Yeah, it's still showing.
Oh well, I don't know why I can't see it on my thing. I mean, I didn't. Jesus Christ, it just kind of like vanished. I don't know where it went. That's funny. Well, it might. Well, there's a 30-second delay, so it says live now. So, let's see.
I just sent a message and they see it. Because I'm a nerd for this kind of stuff. I could talk about all these different things all the time because I really try to understand all sides of it. Like I just try so hard to find the logic and the reason,
Right.
and it's hard to be able to do that.
But okay. Well, hopefully I'm still up, and hopefully it's still going. But that's funny because all of a sudden, like the Google thing just went away. Like the little Google thing at the bottom. I'm like, it's just gone. It's just not there. I can't even see it. So, but I'm glad I'm
Yeah, because
still.
the chat's still open, but I don't know.
You're a goddess of awesome. None your business. Let's see. Yeah, I'm still up. Okay, good.
Yeah, you're
Okay.
still there. Yeah.
Wow. I don't know how. I don't know. You know what? I don't know what. Nope. I was telling somebody the other night. When I was talking to Axe Truth. You're on Axe Truth's channel, aren't you, Charlie?
Yeah. I've been over there quite a few times. He's
Yeah.
great.
Okay. Yeah. But I was on his channel. I was talking to him, and he goes, "Oh, I'm a sub to your site, but I never get any notifications." And I said, "Well, that's because I'm being shadow banned." I go, "It may only say I have like 130 subs, but actually it's like 1.2 million." And he started laughing. He was like, "So,
Well, they're definitely shadow banning a lot of the channels because I've had a resubscribe. Oh, forget it.
oh no,
You have to go in and look. You don't get any of the notifications, and that's how I know it's a channel worth watching.
yeah." Well, did you see what they did to Mark Dice? Was that last week? He was doing a story on the Covington Catholic High School. I think it was that Monday or Tuesday. And so normally, I'm up around 5, and he come at 5 a.m. West Coast time, and that's when he comes on. And so I get up, making my coffee. It's like I don't know, 20 after 5, 5:30, and I'm looking on my feed. I'm on my phone because I didn't feel like popping up the laptop and stuff. I just want to sit down and drink some coffee, relax. And he's not on there. And normally, he's like one of the first videos when I open up around 5:20, 5:30. He's one of the first videos on there on my phone. He's not there. And I go to his site. I can't find the morning video. And I forgot how I got to it, but I kind of had a backdoor kind of weird thing. I don't know how I got to it, but I finally get to it. And sure enough, I go on there, and it shows one view, like to it me, and no likes. So I hit the like button. So I go, well, gee, maybe maybe they closed this comment section off, but they didn't. I went down there to the comment section, and everybody's saying, "Hey, man, I couldn't find your video. I don't know how I got here, but it wasn't in my normal feed." And then I said, okay, after I got done watching, I go, let me see if I can go find it again. And sure enough, I couldn't find it right away. I found it again, and sure enough, it shows when I get back to it, it shows the same one view again, me. But there's like literally 800 people in the comment section, and everybody was saying the
I've
same
seen
thing.
that.
They're totally screwing with him. It was crazy.
And then some other times they'll do away with the comments where it looks like you could write a comment, but you really can't even leave a comment. I've noticed that
Oh, on his site or other people's sites?
on other people's sites.
Yeah, sometimes.
No, on his site, comments, but I've seen it a couple places.
Yeah,
Where,
sometimes
you'll
YouTube.
have like 20 comments and no views.
Yeah, I know it's like hilarious. Or like you'll have all these the chat room is different. Like you can have like people coming in and out, coming in and out. So you may have more likes than views, sometimes. But like the actual comment section itself, I mean that's hard and fast. So yeah, you'll see all these people who comment, but you'll see like no views, or like a few views, but like all these comments. Well, you can't comment on a site without, as soon as you click onto it, you can't be counted as a viewer. I mean, they have to count you as a viewer if you're going to post a comment, and I mean, but they try to drive down the numbers so that it doesn't come to the top. And then Mark was doing, I think Mark's video this morning went into it pretty good. I think it was this morning, and he showed how like there's one story he covered, and he had like I don't know, like 4 million views on it. And he goes, okay, I'm going to punch in the actual title of the video I posted. Let's see where it shows up in Google. Like, page 1, you'd think at the top. Nope, it was like page 8, 8 pages down of Google search results before we finally got to his video. And between him and his video, there were like videos talking about the same topic with like maybe 100 views on it. And he had like 4 million views, because it used to be like the more views you got, the more watch time you got, you went to the top of the food chain when somebody hit a search. Well, they don't do that anymore. That's useless. And now it's just they put like Fox, or not really Fox, but like CNN, MSNBC, their YouTube video stuff. They put them at the top, and they bury guys like Mark Dice and everybody else. So if you are searching for information on this topic, and he covered the exact topic, you're not going to find him unless you want to scroll down through 8 pages. And who does that? Nobody.
Well, the new algorithms and all that nonsense is definitely, they can't say that there's no censoring because, and not only that, when I saw on Friday yesterday that was so bizarre to me is when I was looking, when Roger Stone was coming out of prison and he was going to make his statement, I was trying to find a live stream because I wasn't home. So I went to YouTube and I typed in his name and I went to do the search results, edit the search results. And as soon as I typed his name in on the top, Google came up saying who he was and how he had been indicted in the search of YouTube.
Wow.
A whole text thing. I took a screenshot of it. And I was like, what the heck? I had never seen that before.
Yeah, I mean, that's not...
Have you seen that?
Yeah, no, I've never seen that before. I've never seen that before at all. That's just... No, look, they learned their... Okay, in 2016, there was a lot of information out there from the conservative YouTube sites that were telling the truth, but it was just opposite of what the mainstream media, were telling us, which were a bunch of lies. And so they don't want the other opinion out there. They just want CNN, MSNBC. That's it. Maybe we'll let Fox in, but that's it. And then so you'd have to listen to what we're telling you. And it's just a brainwashing exercise. I mean, I get stuck watching MSNBC and it's full-time coverage, just all negative stories on Trump, just every freaking negative thing in the world that they could bring up. It's just amazing.
I was thinking about. Sorry, I didn't mean to
cut
you
ahead.
off, but that's what I was thinking about. Roger Stone, take away, the fact that he was indicted, even if you're on the left or the right or, whether you're up, down, who cares? To me, I was like, what in heck? The man obviously is somebody else. He was on InfoWars. He had his consulting business. So how, when you're looking somebody's name up on YouTube, is it going to come up with their criminal history? Like that was what they were saying, who he is.
Yeah, I mean, right, right. Instead of saying, okay, Roger Stone, former educator, works on this site, does this, and just got indicted. Throw that in, but that's not who he is. He's not. It's his personality isn't a man who got indicted.
No, and it wasn't advertised as breaking news. It was coming up as a text on the top of the screen, just giving you a little information of who you were looking for, kind of like a Wikipedia. And I just thought it was phenomenal. I was like, if that doesn't prove anything, I don't know what does.
No, it totally proves everything. Again, they thought this guy was so dangerous. I mean, other people have covered this. They thought this guy was so dangerous. They had to go at 6 a.m., guns drawn, kicking out, banging on the door at 6 a.m., even though this guy is like, you could find him anywhere. Just watch him heading for, Times Square when he's going to go do an interview at some network or something. Right. You cannot not miss this guy, but yet you got to wake him up at 6 a.m. in a dead sleep, just for intimidation, harassment. Yeah, and if he's such a dangerous guy, why are you bringing a CNN news crew with you? Aren't you afraid they may get shot by this murderous thug? It's just
I have
crazy.
My feeling that it was all just because they're so desperate to get something because they don't want people to know the truth of really where this all came from right here in America, not from, that's my gut feeling on where it came from and who really started it and leaked it and all that. But I think they're just so desperate they have nothing.
Well,
effort to get
all the people who've been indicted, have been indicted for violating, basically the investigation. They haven't been indicted for the actual crime that the investigation was looking to find people who committed it. They've been indicted for, or like in the case of Manafort, for money laundering and bank fraud from years and years before he ever met Donald Trump. So I mean, MSNBC will say, "Oh, this person was indicted. This person was indicted." Well, what were they indicted for? Okay, well, he's lying to the FBI. Okay, really? What did he actually lie about? Oh, he was trying to get a witness to lie or something. Well, really? I'm not sure that's even true. So I mean, but none. Okay, how about in fact, one of the lies they got him on for telling Congress was that he told them that, oh, I knew the big wigs at WikiLeaks, I had contacts at WikiLeaks. Well, it turns out after Mueller investigated it, well, that's not true. He didn't know anybody at WikiLeaks. They didn't have any. They weren't like in close, coordination with them. So if he had been telling the truth, potentially that would have been collusion. But Mueller found out it was just the opposite. He had no major contacts with WikiLeaks. WikiLeaks puts out a statement saying, "Hey man, this guy is an idiot. He's bragging about something that doesn't exist," and that's what he got charged with. Was lying to Congress about. He was bragging about something that wasn't true, which if it had been true would have been really bad.
Yeah, it was all hype that he was just hyping things up a little bit, not really knowing any better like many people do. But I think I really believe it's because they don't have anything. And by showing up with the warrant, they're really hoping to catch him off guard and find one little something because they don't have anything.
Or get him to say something stupid when he's coming out of a dead sleep. But I tell you what, it's 12:30 my time, and I'm getting a little tired. So I'm gonna head and call it a night for tonight. And
Have a good night.
But totally thanks for calling in. Great conversation. And I just want to say thanks for calling in. And I want to thank everybody in the chat. So, but hey.
Have a great night, Carl. I appreciate it.
Oh, Charity, thank you so much. You have a good one, okay?
Take care.
All right, bye-bye. All right, everybody. I am going to wrap it up for the night. I do want to thank everybody who participated, who called in. We had Drone Man Productions earlier, Laylo earlier. We had Charity just now. We had None Your Business. Actually did a live video, vMix video call, my first one. And, of course, Laylo. He called in twice. And so I just want to say good night to everybody. And I'm going to leave you off with some music here. So let's find you something to listen to here. If I can find it. Let's see. There it is. All right, guys. Anyway, thanks so much. And you guys have a good one. I'll leave up that statue, too, right there. And let's take this one thing down right here. But I'll leave up that statue there, the 10 USC statue. I think it's pretty cool. So anyway, guys, have a good one. Take care. Bye-bye. Beautiful. Yeah. Time flies when you get it right. So hold on tight to me. Love like you never grew up and live like you just get one tonight. We're kings and queens. One blink and it's over. Wake up and we're older tonight. We're kings and queens. Stop, take a breath, close your eyes. Remember this. Oh, oh, oh. Oh, oh, oh. It's beautiful. Love like we never grew up and live like you just get one tonight. We're kings and queens. One blink and it's over. Wake up and we're older tonight. We're kings and queens. Time flies when you get it right. So hold on tight to me.